And now on Who's Views, it's time for the latest headlines with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Stephen Moffat misses the point. Wow, it's hot today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Who's Views. This is your big show. It's headlines on a very hot, the 12th of July, 2026. This is what we like, though, isn't it, Ian?
Oh, God, yeah. It's just a tad balmy, and we're fine.
Balmy. That's a proper word from your part of the world, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Balmy with an L, obviously, not with an R. That's entirely different, but yeah. Yep.
It's good to see everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening for your big show. Lots coming up for you this evening, because, as ever, actually, on this very lovely evening today. But, you know, in a few weeks' time, we'll be moaning it's too cold.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
the rain will be back. It'll get chilly again. We'll have cardies on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting in here with a massive multicolored scarf. But here we are then, yes, because have you heard? Well, Jane Tranter knows good telly, according to IndieWire. Yes, we'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at the fact that Stephen Moffat seems to be missing the point. More of that coming up for you later in the show. We've got some news on the BBC, an update, yes. Goodness me. Is Doctor Who the right home? Is BBC the right home for Doctor Who? That's a big question I think we should all be asking ourselves these days. And RTD has the power. Did you know? So that's all coming up for you in the big show. And stay tuned, you lovely people. Because if you haven't seen it yet, I hope the prodding. Because if you haven't seen it yet, we have. They say there's no Doctor Who in 2026, but we all know different, don't we, Ian?
We do. There's something good coming.
And we've got the trailer for it. So stay with us, because we'll be showing you the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. It's coming up for you here in your big show. It's headlines from Who's Views. I'm going to start tonight with some terrible news this week. Absolutely incredible news as something that's happening. You will all know about this if you're in the UK. But we want to just pay tribute right at the top of the show to the Right Honourable Anne Widdecombe, of course, who was, and I'm going to say this, was murdered just a couple of days ago. Now, this investigation, of course, is ongoing as we speak to you on the 12th of July, 2026. But Anne Widdecombe was a force to be reckoned with in politics for years, decades. And as you can see here, she made a very quick cameo in Doctor Who. Now, this was this the third season, this one, Ian?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was the arc with Harold Saxon. I think it was the penultimate episode of that season, just after Utopia.
So this one would have been written by RTD as well. And this is a disgraceful and shocking example of where the United Kingdom is today. Now, obviously, we don't know why the lunatic did this. I mean, she was, 79-year-old woman.
Yeah.
But what got me about this, everybody, and as we say, she just did a cameo there in the Doctor Who episode. But what got me, Who viewers, Ian, and I don't know if you've seen this, but I was shocked, appalled, and disgusted about some of the Doctor Who fandom and what they were saying about her. And I just want to shout to them, you are vile, you disgust me, and you should be in padded cells, the lot of you. The whole thing about democracy is agreeing to disagree. And Anne Widdecombe was one of those women, one of those people who had the ability. She would challenge you. She would be challenged. She enjoyed a good debate. She listened to other people's point of view, but she was staunch in her own. And she wasn't homophobic. She had lots
No.
of gay men as friends. She
She
just
did.
had beliefs, Ian, about that, which tied in with her upbringing as a Roman Catholic. Now, proper sane gay men like myself have had that forever, and there's a truce that originated. There was what's the word I'm looking for? An understanding. So she wasn't all these horrible things that they always throw at stuff. But Ian, to see the venom,
Yeah.
Doctor Who, alleged Doctor Who fans, made me sick.
It was disgraceful. I mean, these people are largely cowards anyway. I mean, yes, she was staunchly Roman Catholic, and they have views on that, but they're allowed to have views on that. They're not violent and aggressive about it. Muslims have views on that, and they involve throwing people off roofs, and the Catholics don't do that. But of course,
No.
it's her with her Catholic views that was attacked, because they don't have the balls to attack the other lot, obviously. But the comments were disgusting. They were absolutely disgusting. They were subhuman from people who are frankly intellectual knuckle draggers that don't deserve a place at the table. And it was horrendous, but it went wider than them, didn't it? People that really should have known better. Some people that it's really no surprise that actually they're having a light shone on them now. And I think after everything that's been said and done about people on the right of politics, this is really shining a light on people on the left of politics, very similar to what we've seen in America with Charlie Kirk and the attempts on Trump and everything else. They're all celebrating it. They're loving it. They're showing what absolute sick specimens they are. And we're seeing the same here. It's replicating itself. You know, Peter Tatchell, what a vile, cretinous man. He was coming out.
Yes.
Adam Bolton, Sky News, he was coming out.
Yes.
Some lecturer at a
Yes.
Scottish university that's a
Yes.
cock in a frock. You
Yeah.
know, they're hopefully, I mean, they're all dialing back on their comments now, not because they feel chastised, not because they feel bad, not because they genuinely think they said too much. They're saying it because they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose my cushy number. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my income. Tatchell should be booted out back to Australia, quite frankly. If he's got a visa, revoke it, send him back, get him out. We don't want him. We don't need him. It's got a, in my opinion, and I will throw in the word allegedly there, but it is, in my opinion, he's got an unhealthy interest in what children do in relations to, in matters of a sexual nature. But that's my personal opinion. I think it's just a little bit too much. And, you know, frankly,
it wasn't just him, though, Ian. What got me was they were Doctor Who fans. Alleged Doctor Who.
They're all the same, aren't they? And they're all on that side. And they've probably all got accounts on Blue Sky, which is just one fetid cesspit. You know,
and the thing was, it was all over social media. It wasn't just X. It was on Facebook, and I believe it was on Instagram. How did we manage to rear? I say we. I've got nothing to do with it because I'm homosexual. How did heterosexuals manage to breed and raise an entire generation of narcissistic, vile, self-obsessed, flag-waving, terrorist-supporting, narcissistic cretins? I just don't understand.
I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. They are everything that they accuse us of being without evidence.
Yes.
And but they think they're justified in doing it, and they genuinely don't see it. And if they can't see it, then they have problems up here, and they become dangerous. And you know, we've talked before, haven't we? People that have been sent to prison on a 31-month stretch for a single tweet that got deleted in a couple of hours, written in anger, and you know. And yet they're writing all this stuff. They need to understand that stuff is there forever.
Yes.
You delete it, it's still there. It's still, people get screen grabs. It's all going to be there. You will not escape this. And the political system in this country, and generally the state of this country, will not be, and it is shifting, but it will not be forever favoring those on the left, as it has been for so many years. That is changing. And the world will come for you, and the world will get you. And you won't be able to escape from it because the evidence is there for everybody to see. And it's not going away.
I was just so angry, Who viewers, over what I've seen or what I saw over the last couple of days from the Doctor Who community, and it just reinforced in my head why I do not want to be part of that bigger Doctor Who community. It was absolutely disgusting. A lot of you in the chat with us. It's great to see you all. I've been putting up your chats as Ian and I are chatting. Thank you very much for this. You all are examples of what we don't want to be. And you know what? These people, Ian, Who viewers, these vile cretins were courted into the fandom, were enforced into our fandom. They went deliberately after some of these people, didn't they? Especially from, I would say, Chibnall onwards. They went for them thinking that this was the future of Doctor Who. Well, you know what? Yeah. Keep it. Just keep it. If that's the fandom you want, you have them. You have them. If you want these judgmental, narcissistic, flag-waving, terrorist-supporting people who are going to celebrate something like this, keep them. You have them. Take your bloody show.
I get the impression that they're probably, this is again a personal opinion, but which at the moment there's still no law against that. And I'm certainly not calling down violence on anybody, unlike them. But I imagine that these are the kind of people that are the core of the audience now for things like Big Finish and Doctor Who magazine. I think that's the element.
I reckon you're right. I mean, not all of them, of course.
No,
but the amount of things I saw over the last couple of days, you could be forgiven for thinking. In fact, imagine you're not we, everybody. Imagine you're not we, and you've come across these comments. You would be thinking, like people tend to do already about elements of Doctor Who fandom, what a vile, poisonous fandom they are. Keep away, and I'm not letting my children get involved with that TV show.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Why would you?
It gets judged.
Why would you let your kids get involved in that? You see the kind of sick people that they are. Why would you let your kids have anything to do with it? I mean, God forbid it's just watching a TV program. But I mean, can you imagine if they actually met one of them? It'd be horrendous. You're not going to want your kids around those at all. They're poisonous.
No, that's the fear, though, isn't it? If you allow your children to watch this show and then suddenly they could get into a fandom, you wouldn't want them going into that fandom after what we have witnessed through the whole TQ cult nonsense. And now we've got this. You would not want to introduce the show to your child in case they mixed up with these people. I think it's very frightening.
They are, without a shadow of a doubt, a malignant cancer at the heart of current Who fandom. And the only thing you can do is cut them out and get rid, because they are absolutely evil without exception.
Let's go into the chat and see what you're saying now. I've flashed an awful lot of your comments up already. Thank you very much. Philip Shaw is saying there are old school genuine fans and modern Who fans who are toxic and repulsive. The differences between us are incredible. The differences between societies are incredible. The difference between the times are incredible. If our day, and not that this happened all the time, the nearest I was thinking about this for this show, the nearest I could think of the time was the Brighton bombing of the Tory party, which is not the same at all. You know, it's not the same, but back in our day. But Doctor Who fandom didn't get involved with that. No, we got involved with that. If you chatted to people about it, you didn't say, oh, thank God they were, you know, you didn't say that. You, oh my God, wasn't that awful? It's shocking where we are today. I'm disgusted by it. Robert Payne is saying to us, we know Doctor Who fans are nothing of the sort. They are only fans of themselves, which they must see on screen. Horrible bunch of trend followers, no thoughts of their own. Steve Braddock, hi to you. Yes, JT, and these comments are not stopping. He's seen some new vile comments in the last hour. Absolutely vile in human nature. Oh, that is awful. AF Jekanan, I see you. Do not celebrate personal tragedy. No, you do not. Margie, nice to see you with an RIP, and no one has the right to come up for speaking their minds. If that's what it was like, because
the police aren't helping here, are they? It was a 20. No. Did you notice how quickly they mentioned the ethnicity?
Don't say it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but let's not go down there. Let's not go down there. I mean, part of that is because the public has put pressure on them now to do all that. So yeah, we've got Georgia with us as well. Totally agree with you both. Some of the comments have shocked me over the last 36 hours. The narcissist, very disturbed, and like you mentioned, it's there forever. Absolutely. Chorus Sci-Fi, thank you so much for your super chat. They're not Doctor Who fans, they're scumbags, JT, they're utter scum. They call themselves Doctor Who fans though, and I've just said there as well, you know, I just look at that and just think that is not going to help the show. come back, because people will just remember this if they've seen it. Terry Leptel, hello to you. You're bang on. We must have civility in politics because politics itself is the civilized alternative to violence and war.
Can you imagine how they would have got themselves into a froth if people on the right, either of Doctor Who fandom or just in general, had celebrated the murder of Jo Cox, the Labour woman?
And that was a few years ago as well. I mean, that was unbelievable as well. I mean, we've had three.
It was shocking.
We've had three of this time, and this one had a Doctor Who element in it and Doctor Who fans, which is why I'm bringing it out on headlines here now, because I was genuinely sickened. I was absolutely disgusted and angry to my core about these. They are not Doctor Who fans. You guys in the chat are right. They are not Doctor Who fans. They just call themselves this. They are only there for the propaganda. They are there for the representation. That is why this stuff needs to come out of the show with any new production team, because the show is now, it's incredibly damaged, and it has a very aggressive, vile fan base, which the BBC are pandering to still with this circuit breaker nonsense. Funky, thank you for your super chat. A disgusting situation. Evil people thinking they're better, but nasty pieces of. Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Q Orst 1, nice to see you. I got told the other day I was wrong for liking a male doctor and not Jodie's doctor. Yes, well, just you remember, Q Orst 1, you are not. You are absolutely not. I've had that. In fact, a lot of us have had that since that day in Wimbledon when they announced that we've been called Ot, Phobe, Ist. This situation of the last couple of days has to basically, BBC Studios, you need to see what is going on out there and you need to do something. These people are vile. They shouldn't be part of the show. We don't want them. It's as simple as that. They are horrible. Stephen O'Reese, good to see you, mate. Why are they so disturbed? I don't get why they hold hatred like that in their hearts. It's demonic and they feed off it. Well, I think you might have hit the nail on the head there. Doctor Who 63.
They can't move on, can they, JT? I mean, you see it everywhere. You see it with Andy Burnham, for example. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but you see Andy Burnham, and one of his interviews a couple of weeks back was, what's wrong with Britain? And his first response was Thatcher. I mean, Margaret Thatcher was out of power in the early 90s, 1991, something like that. And 30 odd years later, and he's saying that she's the problem. It's like some people have this obsession with a figure that they just can't move away from. Yeah. And that figure becomes the focal point of their hatred. You see it with Trump, you see it with Farage, and they can't. Can you imagine if this had happened to Farage, what the outpouring that would be coming then? It'd be unbelievable.
I think the state of our society is disgraceful, and I wish I knew where everything went wrong, but I can't. Can any of you pinpoint it? I can't. 2020 had a big role to play in it, of course, because everybody got utterly insane living behind avatars. But we have reared a generation of extreme far left lunatics.
Yeah.
Years ago, had somebody like that been reared, they would be in therapy. And I think we need to reopen the mental asylums, as we used to call them. Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat. Britain went to war in World War II to save another. Less than a century later, we're raising people who are wanting 78-year-old women to suffer what happened to us. Good point. Yeah. PTA, thank you for your super chat. I'll always remember Anne on the Chase. She and Bradley Walsh were comedy gold. Yeah, I saw that one as well. It was very funny. She was immensely talented across politics and entertainment. That's the thing, because she actually crossed over from politics into the entertainment. She was on Strictly Come Dancing famously, as well as other things. Big Brother. She was on that. She made that cameo in Doctor Who. So people liked her. She was a popular figure, and that's in the days when people were able to agree to disagree, because people liked her when she was on the entertainment stuff, and we've lost that knack in society now of being able, and this shows that. But as I say, again, bringing it back to Doctor Who, I am absolutely disgusted by what happened from alleged Doctor Who fans this weekend. Disgusted at you all. Whatever happened to never be cruel, never be cowardly, never fail to be kind, says Digby Strawbridge. Thank you for a super chat. Digby, I think that only counts when it's them.
Yep, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. They'll some of them, not all of them, obviously, but some of them will be posting these horrible comments, and then they'll be dressing up as Jodie or Shooty or whatever, and they'll be quoting stuff like that, and it'll be just words. It'll just be word salad. They won't have any meaning or understanding of it whatsoever.
Yeah. And then they'll be going off onto stupid parades, supporting terrorism, or even banging on about trans rights.
Yep.
All that nonsense. You show me what right a heterosexual does not have in the world today. Thank you. But anyway, as Kevin Taylor is saying to us in the chat, lots of proper Doctor Who fans here, and thank goodness for you all. Thank you so much for joining us. But from us here at Who's Views to Anne Widdecombe's family and friends, of whom she had a lot of friends, what we would say is basically gone before your time. And whether you liked her policies or not, we have to thank her for her service in public life, which she gave to the country.
Yeah.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Horrible.
All right, then, everybody, let's move on. Thank you for joining us here on Who's Views. It is the 12th of July, 2026. This is your big show, It's Headlines. And as usual, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody that has been getting in touch this week via comments or emails. As ever, if you do want to get in touch with me, you know the address by now, because I show it all the time. So you know the address. It's whosviews1@gmail.com, whosviews1@gmail.com. Please do get in touch. A lot of people, as I say, have been getting in touch with us this week, and I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Lynn Hobdy, Andy Four, RJ Andy, RPG Games, Stephen O'Neill, Steve Henley, Eddie Day Riley, Paul Charmer, SPL Film Colorist, Daniel Cox, X-Man 577, Stephen Ginny Frith, to Millywig Zeg, Michael Webster, Diana Princess of Power, to Raymond Williams, to Gary Bryant, to Cody W1, to Sheriff Brackett, and Lorraine Sheridan, and everybody else that got in touch this week. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Keep your emails coming along as we get on with today's story. Now, goodness me, yeah, we are looking at the BBC in this hiatus period because, oh yeah, let me just remind everybody, Doctor Who is off air. It's out of production. That upsets a hell of a lot of these idiots we're talking about. That gets them so angry. It's a fact. Calm down. It's out of production. And as Who's Views often says, from our point of view, this is a good thing. And it's something we have wanted since 2023, and especially the crap in 2024. We have wanted this thing off the air. So thank you, BBC Studios, for listening and doing something about it rather than flogging a dead horse. But we are keeping a tabs on the BBC. And following our discussion about the BBC last week, Ian, the new Director General, Matt Britton, has reportedly come out to say this: the TV license fee is yesterday's model. Da, da, da. I mean, shock horror.
I'm not sure it's even yesterday. It was out of date then. I think it's a lot further back than that.
Yeah. This is the Director General of the BBC, a brand new one that's been in post 2 weeks. And this is what he comes out with, which leads me very nicely to the poll of today's show. We're going to be asking you, as we go through this story now about Matt Britton saying this, how should the BBC move forward? Okay. The options for you are subscription, advertising, keep the license fee, keep the license fee, or other. And in which case, if there's another, you can pop it in the comments on the bottom of the show. But 1 for subscription, 2 for advertising, 3 for keep the license fee, or 4 other. Okay, so that's our poll. Keep that coming. Subscription, advertising, keep the license fee, or other. We're going to keep that open for you as we get into this story right now, because here we go. This is from the Craven Herald and Pioneer, which is an American paper, I believe. So there you go. See, I go all over the world here, Ian.
Is that American?
Sorry, that's the wrong one. It's this one. This is from the BBC's own website. I'm talking nonsense. I've just skipped ahead with myself. The BBC's new Director General has described the traditional TV license model as a busted flush and no longer fit for purpose. Busted flush. These, Ian, are big words for this new Director General, aren't they? This is real criticism of the business he's just taken on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In his first major public appearance since taking over the BBC 6 weeks ago, former Google executive Matt Britton told MPs that the license fee is yesterday's model. The BBC receives most of its funding from the £180 a year TV license, but the number of households paying has declined in recent years, and the broadcaster is discussing reform of the system with the government. Britain said, "We can and should be doing as much as possible on enforcing license fee collection under the current model, but it's not yesterday's model. It's a busted flush. It's no longer fit for purpose. And that's why we need to make the case for the BBC and a shift of the license fee model." He did not specify what he wants to replace it, but he and BBC Chair Samir Shah suggested the government should reconsider a compulsory household levy, which it had previously ruled out. Gosh, common sense coming from the BBC themselves. The BBC continued, Britain told the House of Commons, the Culture, Media and Sport Committee on Wednesday that such a levy could be collected through utility bills such as broadband, mobile or electricity. If 100% of homes paid through such a scheme, the fee could be reduced from its current level, he said. The challenge, as it's been ruled out, and I can understand the concerns about cost of living and so on households, but I think it's got merits and others have found it to have merits, Britain said. Shah said the levy would solve a lot of problems for us and was certainly open to it, but admitted, here it is, it could be seen as and effectively another tax. Currently, a TV license is legally required to watch or record television on any channel or service, watch live on streaming services, or use BBC iPlayer. But license fee payment has dropped to 80% of households, Britain told the committee. 80%. There is an ongoing debate about an alternative system, and the government is considering options, including allowing the BBC to be funded by adverts or subscriptions. However, the Director General said those systems would be likely to result in the BBC cutting back on services that generate less commercial revenue, such as children's shows like Newsround and local news. How exactly you farmed everything out. Shah also said our drama would become increasingly narrowly focused on things that drive subscription under a Netflix-style system. We would stop being universal. We'd actually stop being the BBC that we know, he added. The debate about the BBC's future comes at a critical time for the corporation, which is making about 2,000 roles redundant, roughly 1 in 10 staff, in order to make £500 million savings. Its current role charter, which outlines its public mission and funding arrangements, expires at the end of 2027 and is currently under the public review. So a couple of things I want to know about this. Common sense is basically they have now actually started to look at the possibilities, because beforehand, everything that came on the table, they were going, no, because they were that set on keeping the license fee. So they have now realized the license fee is so out of date because they've seen the figures, right? We've seen the figures, the money's not coming in. So there's that element. However, they've started to look at things like, I mean, this whole thing about tapping it into a household bill type thing. I don't use the BBC services. I would have something to say about that, Ian.
I'd have a huge amount to say about that, and I think a lot of people would.
Absolutely.
And it's going back to removing the choice. So basically, it's saying to those 20% of people that have got rid of their license fee, it's saying, haha, we've got you. You can't get out of this one. You're back in the loop again. And it's an absolute disgrace.
And I wouldn't use the BBC services even if I was forced to pay it, because I don't like the BBC. It's going to be very hard for me to forgive the BBC for the last 10, 15 years, ever since basically the Scottish independence vote, where that was the first one. And I was involved with that I was living in England at the time, but I was looking at that. And now I had friends in Scotland who had the democratic right to vote that were falling out left, right and centre because of this. You know, maybe this is where all this madness started. And you had all this stuff going on. But it was a democratic right. And what Scotland voted, of course, no, we want to stay part of the union. That should be the end of it. Done. The democratic vote, you get on with it. Then we had the Brexit thing where people went insane again. Vote was done. Get on with it. Majority rules. but the BBC coverage of both events, I was so angry at the BBC on a couple of the shows when I did pay my license, I think about that time. Yeah, it would have been 2013, 14, wouldn't it? And I was looking at it.
2014, yeah.
Yeah. And there were a couple of shows there where they were basically saying to friends of mine in Scotland who were going to vote leave, you are nasty, you are ots, you are this, that's that. And I thought, no, my friends are very intelligent, educated, worldly wise people. It's their democratic right to say what they want to do. The same happened with the Brexit thing. And with, with the aftermath of Brexit as well, now people are still judging, aren't they? 10, 11 years after the bloody event. It's ridiculous. Mark, thank you for your super chat. When I win the lotto, I'm going to pay for a full page ad to remind them Doctor Who being off air just to annoy them with the Who's Views panel pictures. Well, let me know and I'll take my shirt off for you. Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you for that, Mark. Thank you for that. Yeah, so it's going to take me in. I don't think I'll ever forgive the BBC, to be quite. And then you look at what they've done with Doctor Who.
They've been very divisive. They've been very divisive, and it's always on a particular leaning. They don't go one way and then the other. They never stick in the middle. They are always very, very, very divisive. And I remember the radio discussions at the time. You know, they've got question time on BBC television, haven't they? But they've got any questions on Radio 4. Right. I'll tend to pick that up when I can. And I remember the pre-referendum conversations, and they had various people on it. They had a woman called Elaine C. Smith, and I only remember her name because she played the wife to Ramsay Nesbitt.
Yes, I mean she is a known actress up here. Well, I say no, she does I know her best because she seems to do panto every single year. Right. I think that's what actually that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
She's quite politically active, or she was then. And
she was
very pro independence. I mean, it caused quite a bit of controversy south of the border, really, because there's a lot of people in England that wanted a say in the vote as well. Because it shouldn't.
Scots in England, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be Scotland saying we want to stay part of you. England should have had the chance to say, do we want you to be part of us? But we didn't.
True.
And it did cause a lot, to be quite honest. I have really good friends, and they're still good friends that wanted to go. And to be quite honest, my personal view was, if you want to go, absolutely, God bless you, wish you all the best. If you want to come back when it doesn't work, then that's a vote for all of us.
Yeah, it would have to be. It's similar to the Europe thing.
Yeah,
you know,
and I don't.
The annoying thing is, though, from my point of view, it was what the BBC did. It's how the BBC spoke about my friend, and they spoke about the same thing over the Brexit crap.
Yep.
And still do. I had friends, and they still do. They judged my friends who wanted to vote leave the European Union, and I was disgusted at how they were talking about my friends. So that's when I thought, no, this is it. And then Doctor Who and what they did with Doctor Who, as well as lots of other stuff. A lot of you in the chat saying, like, Problem Being is saying, good, cut the children's shows so they don't have to be indoctrinated. What children's shows, says Stephen Braddock. Now that what he has said there, what Matt Britton has said there, I don't believe what he said there, because what shows, BBC? You commission the shows from production partners now, like we're about to see with Doctor Who. So what are you talking about? You don't make your own shows anymore.
I mean, they say about having, if they did it in a Netflix style subscription, it would narrow their range. I mean, are they saying Netflix has a narrow range? Because it really doesn't. It has quite a wide range, really. Whether you like it or not, there's quite a lot of stuff on there. I don't think that happens.
Talking about that as well, Matt Britton and Mr. Shah over at the BBC need to be aware about Netflix, because Netflix, according to the Radio Times on Friday, Netflix is tipped to be considering live channels and new streaming bundles in a new engagement effort. The company is reportedly considering new changes amid a decline in engagement. So this means the proposals come amid concerns that the subscriber engagement is showing signs of decline, which has been a frequent discussion topic in company meetings, according to the WSJ, allegedly at this point. This is from the Radio Times. A source told the publication that Netflix executives have suggested adding live channels to the streaming service that would see specific shows and movies being streamed continuously. The source added that the company is also considering selling bundles that would include other streaming services. This is a service that competitors such as Prime Video and Apple TV already offer. While the company remains the leader in subscription streaming, it has faced challenges in recent years. Netflix has already made multiple attempts to expand its offerings in recent years, with the company introducing an ad-supported tier in 2022. And the streamer has also recently introduced live programming, including NFL games and WWE events, and even expanded into video podcasts and creator-led content. So the BBC needs to be aware of things like that, really, because is it just me that thinks the BBC is totally out of date for the modern world?
Oh, completely. And that they think they have a divine right to be there. But the fact that they're trying as well to make sure that you have to have the license fee if you watch Amazon or Netflix, because that's come up in previous conversations about this, hasn't it? It's something that they're looking at and trying to angle to get. I can see serious legal challenges coming to the BBC on that, and bring it on, quite frankly, because they're just spouting absolute crap.
They're desperate, Ian. They are clawing around stuff now, and they're desperate now. And they've reluctantly, thanks to Matt Britton, I think, become aware of the fact they aren't popular and they are out of date. And I think the subscription side of stuff would scare the hell out of them. So they'll come up with all this fancy jargon for not going down that route, because they know they won't get the uptake that they need to keep going. Even if they have something like Doctor Who as a flagship show, that's not enough to keep them going, because only a small percentage of Doctor Who fans would go and say, like they did with Disney, I'll go and subscribe to this. And if they deliver 3 absolutely terrible episodes, you unsubscribe and stop paying money.
That's exactly why they don't want to do the subscription model, because it
would be the truth, wouldn't it? It would be the truth. Kevin Taylor saying to us, why not stop paying for the DEI? Millions, of course, Kevin, wasn't there going into the DEI? That should have been scrapped. My understanding from people that I know, it hasn't been, and it should have been. I'm going to try and get more information. Philip Shaw, busted flush. Does this mean the BBC cannot flush its programme turds? Yes, basically. Stephen O'Neill, the BBC should be based on your income with the tapering system. They could easily get the information from the government departments. Oh, that could be something to do with data protection and all that sort of stuff. And what if you change your job, and what if you grow up to scale? That's a lot of administration there as well. John Keeley,
you might be on a good salary, but you might be
not wanting to pay.
Well, you might, but you might, for example, have large outgoings. For example, if you were paying for the medical care for somebody or whatever, which meant on paper you were earning a lot, but there was a lot going out. The BBC wouldn't see that, and they'd just say, massive bill.
The John Keeley, they should give an entire year's license fee total to every young victim of the Savile scandal, leading the BBC to be bankrupt for many hundreds of years, and they deserve nothing less. That's another reason. The memory is long for the British public, and the more stories we get, we've had that one. Harris. Then there was the things like Michael Jackson, Princess Diana. There's a whole roll call of things.
Like him a lot. What they did to Cliff Richard was quite shocking. But Hugh Edwards, they know about them and they hide it and they protect them, allegedly, don't they?
Allegedly. I don't. They certainly did with that last one. Although now I've read in the week there as well, as part of this, when it comes to Mr. Eddie, the BBC are now saying you owe us money. They're that desperate, I think. They're that desperate. And he'll probably try and take them to court. That's going to be interesting to follow. Woodhouse 122, I don't pay the TV license, so there's nothing I want to watch on the BBC. Exactly. To be forced to pay via internet bills or council tax is just wrong. It absolutely is. Jason G, nice to see you. If the 80% paying license fee would increase to 100% if they stop making the foul Mrs. Brown boys. They want to add the license fee to watch YouTube, says FJ Canal. It's something we've talked about before, isn't it, everybody? That is something we've talked about. Farsight is saying, I'm not happy with the notion of it being paid through your broadband, etc. Absolutely not. No way. Why does it have to be enforced on the British public? Oh, I've answered that before, didn't I? Because they're terrified of the British public saying, nah, not interested. The BBC's gone within a year. You know, that's the truth. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve Andrews. It's a subscription for me. Sheila B in the devotions. No way am I ever giving the BBC another penny of my money. You and I on the same page, my darling. Raymond Williams, hi mate. My youngest got me to watch Enola Holmes 3 on Netflix. Oh yeah, I've seen the first one of that. That's got Henry Cavill in it, hasn't it? Sherlock and this sister. Yeah, I remember. It's full of wokery messaging, and it was the worst film I've seen in years. I wondered who got away with writing this trash. Oh yeah, it was Jack Thorne. Oh, was it? Oh really? Oh really? Gosh. And some people wanted him as the Doctor Who guy. Please do me a favor. Digby Strawbridge. Netflix are able to use profits from one lot of programs that are popular to make stuff that's experimental. Yeah. Space Peninsula. I love Elaine C. Smith in Two Doors Down. She's a very funny woman. Yeah, I saw the first series of that all those years ago. It got too regular. You know, it's just gone on and on and on and on. I can't be there. I can watch some of what she does. And then in real life, I will disagree with her politics completely. Patrick Hartnell, scrap it. It's a mouthpiece of the state. If you've just joined us, we are doing a poll for you tonight. Let's have a quick look at it, shall we? I'm asking you, how should the BBC move forward? It's there. It's here. 1 for subscription, 2 for advertising, 3 for keeping the license fee, 4 for other. So we've had 6% saying other. So you'll have to let me know in the comments after the show what the others would be, what you think the ideas would be. But I can tell you that so far, 53% have said advertising and 41% have gone for subscription. Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to keep that going and we'll come back to it through the show. But thank you for that. Now, chiming in on this this week was Lisa Nandy. BBC TV license fee is unsustainable, says the Culture Secretary. Now, this particular government is known for its backtracking and its U-turning. Didn't she say just a couple of months ago that the license fee was the preferred Labour government way to go?
Yeah, she did.
Well, she's
and then I think a little bit before that, she was talking about making it compulsory or collecting it via other ways. So this has been like a cycle.
Well, let's see what Lisa Nandy is now saying this week. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has described the BBC licence fee as unsustainable, backing calls for fresh thinking on how the broadcaster is funded. Her comments follow criticism from BBC Director General Matt Britton, who told MPs that the licence fee model is no longer fit for purpose and described it as a busted flush. At least he was honest with them. Her comments, the broadcaster relies primarily on the licence fee, which rose earlier this year to £180 annually as its main source of income for TV, radio and online services. Ms. Nandy said, I do actually, and have thought so for a long time when questioned about, is the licence fee out of date? Really? The licence fee in its current form is unsustainable simply because there are fewer and fewer people paying it. She pointed to growing competition from streaming services such as Netflix and Disney Plus as part of the challenge. The only option that we've ruled out completely is funding the BBC through general taxation because of the risk of political interference. But I think he is right to be very stark that we're going to have to make some very different choices. Oh, there we go. Sorry, let's bring that slide up. There we go. The BBC has previously suggested that the licence fee could be reduced if more people paid it. Currently, 94% of adults use BBC services each month, but only around 80% of households contribute to its funding. The debate over the future of the licence fee comes as the BBC's Royal Charter, which underpins its governance and guarantees editorial independence, is due to expire in December 2027. That's next year, everyone. Ms. Nandy also commented on the possibility of a compulsory household levy, saying there are different ways of doing a household levy, but stressing that no decision has been made. She said the government is consulting with the BBC and will also seek public input as part of the charter review process, which is what we talked about last week. Ms. Nandy said, we're determined to get this right. What is not negotiable is that we will fund the BBC properly. Sorry, what is not negotiable is that we will fund the BBC properly. That is a commitment that we have made. What is up for negotiation is how we do that, because it has to be sustainable and it has to command public support. The future of BBC funding is expected to form part of a wider public consultation as the government prepares to review the Royal Charter. These are big times for the BBC. This is a big... But do you know what? Do you know what I think happened, Ian? I
Go
think
on.
Lisa and Andy met with Matt Britton and Mr. Shah, and they gave all these figures that they went to this commission with, the MPs with, and that's when she changed her tune, because they said to her, these are the facts, because she's repeated what they said, and this came after what Matt Britton said.
She blows in the wind. She'll change direction depending on who's making the biggest sound. But I've got no time or respect for Lisa Nandy. I think she talks absolute donkey shit at the best of times. She made that huge announcement just a few week or so ago that she was leaving X and all the department work.
Oh, she did, didn't she? Yeah.
And yet her account is still active. So what? Can you take her seriously? I can't. I don't think intellectually she's very bright.
It's like most of them, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it seems to be a prerequisite. You've got to be an absolute dumb fool to be a Labour MP, or quite a few of the others, to be fair.
Yeah,
but she is repeating it. But they do this. They do coordinate it, and you see it all the time. It's no. For example, and apologies because Paul's not here, and it is a tangent a bit, and I'll keep it brief. But you look this last week at the pile-on with Farage and funding and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for example, the Labour Party took a donation from that wokey guy, Dale Vince, and his organisation then got £130 million of contracts and all that bit. It's in all the press and everything. But that doesn't get talked about. But Farage getting 5 million for his, they could both be dodgy. I don't know, but one's a lot bigger than the other that they ignore. But
which one is the BBC going to cover?
Well, yeah, exactly. They're going to cover Farage.
Which one will the public be made more aware of?
Yes, and
Sky's
Labour,
just as bad, by the way.
Yeah, Labour, Conservatives, Lib Dems, all the TV news, all the press were all coordinated on this Farage pylon, and it's like, if only all the political parties and all the press could coordinate to do something positive for the British people in this country, but they can't. It's only when they do. And how do all these political parties that are supposed to have different views coordinate for a single pylon? They're all saying the same things, and Nandy's the same here. She's listening to other people, and then she'll come out and say something, and Starmer will come out and say something, and it'll be the same thing, and Burnham will come out and say something, and it'll be the same thing, just regurgitated word salad, which you're quite right. You give it a few weeks and it'll change again.
We've got Frankie Standage in the chat saying to us, they're all talking to keep their jobs. There's a lot of that. There is a lot of that going on. There are a lot of people in the BBC right now genuinely very worried. I can sympathise with them being genuinely worried. I think when it comes to the many redundancies we talked about on one of our previous shows at the BBC, I think they have to look at which departments they get rid of, because there are too many, in my opinion, within the BBC. From what I have been reading, there's too many, and you just think, what's that department for? And what's that department for? I mean, people used to moan about it in the 80s. Oh, there's too many things going on. Too many. I mean, if you've seen it today internally, and the move from the White City, the donut in London, was the biggest mistake of the BBC. Have you seen how much they're paying in rent for the various buildings that they are using across the country, in Manchester and in Glasgow, Cardiff, etc., allegedly? Huge amounts of bills going on there. Let's get into the chat. Forbidden Man is saying to us, so MOT watched BBC for the past 4 years. I'm not missing anything.
I think that's not Mott.
Oh, not to watch the BBC. You're not missing anything. I don't think I am either. Hello to Problem Being. Nice to see you. Sky can buy the BBC, Channel 4 and Channel 5 and shove it on their service, so I don't ever have to watch any of that crap again. Yet Sky this week have just proved they are as bad, if not worse, than the BBC. Digby Strawbridge, why did the Beeb have such problem abuse, whereas there seems to be less of a problem with ITV? Well, there are problems with ITV as well. Have you seen the daytime schedule? Those bloody yappity yap women need to be given a rest.
They've had their scandals as well, haven't they? Philip Schofield and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was just yawn. But there are. I mean, it's still the entertainment industry, and it's still show business, and they've still gone down this route of DEI and far left ideologies. I mean, look at the ITN News. Similar to the BBC, it won't go into things that they don't think or they will take an edge. No, we can't talk about that. Or we can't talk about that. Lots of things in the country that the alternative channels now are talking about with proper news, and the others won't touch because that might call that we might be ist or phobes or ots if we report that. That's not what journalism's about. If you're a journalist, you're not frightened of hurty words. Thank you for your super chat, Funky. Where's our champion of dimensions in time? By the way, he's working tonight. He's got to go and work, so you're getting the two of us.
2 for the price of 3.
Avon was saying to us, BBC staff and presenters are overpaid. That's why the BBC is nearly bankrupt, in my opinion. Yeah, and they have over the last few years, of course, tried to descale this. But some of the fees for these people are huge. And when I look at some of the people getting these big salaries, I think, why?
They get paid now to private companies, don't they? And then they
Some of
say,
them do.
well, that's a private company, so they don't have to disclose with
Some of
freedom
them
of
do.
information and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them do. Hidden History and the Holy. It became out of date in the 50s with the start of ITV. Well, the BBC was very much of its day there, wasn't it? Avon 01, £180 a year for the BBC TV license. At least Dick Turpin wore a mask when he robbed you. Exactly. Space Peninsula saying, I think Lisa Nandy and this Labour government are unsustainable. Oh, I hope so. We've got a brand new Prime Minister starting a week on Monday. And he's just as bad as the current one, I can assure you.
That's
Lex,
a big
how are you?
shout out for democracy, isn't it? That.
Well, again, for what, the 4th, 5th time? Lex Kane, thank you for joining us. I've just cancelled the ITVX Premium as it's gone very woke. The BBC needs to go optional payment subscription rather than forced license fee. Interesting. Optional payment, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the subscription, I don't understand what the problem is with that, apart from the fact that the truth will out and they won't get the money that they need to run. Woodhouse 122, we need a referendum on this if they are changing the charter. What, another one? Remember that woman? Well, another one? She was fabulous. She said exactly what the whole country was thinking of. Good to see you all there. Hello, Killbot Kill. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for voting in the poll. If you are just joining us and you want to join in this week's poll, you can do. I'm asking you, how should the BBC move forward? You can press 1 for subscription, 2 for advertising, 3 for keep the license fee, or 4 for other. And after the show, in the comments, you can put what your idea for other ways of funding the BBC is. There you go. Thank you for that. Keep those coming. It's a mess, though, the whole thing with the BBC, isn't it? But I think it's incredible that we've got Matt Britton, the new BBC Director General, now coming out saying what the rest of us have been saying for years. The BBC license fee is yesterday's model, i.e. it's out of date and we have to do something. Reality is hitting home with Matt Britton. He's got a big job, though, Ian. He has got a massive challenge on his hands, and he is going to be incredibly unpopular with a hell of a lot of people in making brand new decisions.
Absolutely, he'll find a lot of resistance. You'll probably get a lot of the unions involved. There'll be a lot of campaigning, a lot of stuff said behind closed doors as well. I think he's in for a bit of a rough ride, but it'd be nice if the future of the BBC was decided in some way that brought consideration for the British public into mind, because it never is.
No, these people are more interested in themselves, career politicians, and then we've got people in entertainment who aren't there to entertain. They're there to push an ideology or some sort of message, a political agenda. And the great British public, well, we're all called far right now, aren't we, basically, by our own Prime Minister, the one that's just about to get kicked out. Goodness knows what the new one's going to call us.
Yeah, we're called far right by him. We're called the great unwashed by them.
By the BBC, yeah.
It's I just feel that it is all a bit of a stitch up, really, because we have that situation, and we've discussed it before, JT, but that situation where, I think we did it last week, didn't we, where they are wanting to force us to take trusted trusted stuff on our social media feeds. Now just imagine you go to YouTube or you open up your browser, and by default you are immediately served BBC content without your choice. The government have dictated you are fed BBC content. At that very moment you are seeing BBC content, they're going to say, you're seeing BBC content, you need a license.
I spoke to somebody I know recently who knows about these things.
Okay.
And I said that my theory is, would you need a BBC TV license if that happened? And you go, oh yeah.
So you have no choice. You're forced to see it by default by government diktat, and they really put the dick in diktat, don't they? And you're forced to see it, and they then say, "Oh, you've watched it. You've got to buy a license fee, otherwise you're going to go to prison if you don't." My
Exactly.
God, it is really.
Don't get me started on that one, because they're letting people out of prison that shouldn't be let out of prison because the prisons are overcrowded. We'll stop imprisoning people for having an opinion, for crying out loud, or for the color of their skin. That's the easiest thing to do. People being arrested for preaching Christian messages on the streets has happened my entire life and before that. And now suddenly it's an offense because some people, and we all know whom we're talking about, might get offended by that. Well, tough titties, quite frankly, because that's democracy. If they don't like it, tell them to move on. Don't be arresting the preacher, because that's actually part of our heritage to have them out there. Do you know what I mean? All these other things. Stop arresting people over a blooming tweet.
If you went to Tehran and complained that you felt intimidated or offended by the call to prayer, you'd be in prison before you could blink.
Yeah.
You'd probably not get out.
This is all part of the question I'm going to continue to ask at the moment, though. Is the BBC suitable to be the home of Doctor Who? And I want you to all think about this out in the chat, because we're going to be asking this again. We will be discussing this as we go through this hiatus. Where could Doctor Who go if we don't want it to go onto the BBC? It doesn't have to go onto the BBC, especially if the BBC is going to be changing from 2027 into 28 onwards, which Doctor Who will not be back. By the time Doctor Who comes back, the landscape of our television would have changed again. Goodness knows what's going to happen with the charter. Goodness knows what they're going to announce by the end of 2027 with the license fee. So whatever, it's going to be a change. Will Doctor Who fit into a brand new look BBC? Don't be frightened about it if it doesn't, because it can go elsewhere. There are loads of places it could go now. It's these little things I think we should all continue to talk about, Who viewers, and keep going as we get through this hiatus. And I think it's going to come up constantly now in our discussions from this moment on. We'll get into the chat with James Ripley. You've been there. Thank you, James. Much like the CBC here in Canada, viewership down, but all the top brass get bonuses. I bet they do. It's easy to spend when you have free reign on someone else's bank account. Good point. And they do all the time. They do it in government all the time, in the civil service all the time. The amount of money they waste in the civil service because it's not theirs, and because they've got nobody around them from business to say, there's your budget, and you stick to it. You know, you do not go over it. Killbot, Killbot, Kill. Nice to see you. I sent an enforcement officer packing yesterday after he demanded I do a program search on my TV when he saw no channels found. He said, you didn't allow him in the house, did you? Oh, I hope you didn't. You never allow enforcement officers into your house. You tell them to bugger off. Honestly. Good for you, Killbot, Killbot, Kill, but never allow them through the front door. They've got no right. That's the BBC intimidating the public. That's all it is. They use these fancy words. Enforcement officer, get on your bike. I'll enforce it. Show him a broom handle. That'll do it. Seagull 6819. Roger Federer was in the roll box at Wimbledon the other day, along with Ncuti Gatwa and Lenny Henry. Has there ever been a bigger discrepancy in talent in a confined space? Didn't see that. Oh God, can you? There's Gatwa desperately trying to be seen. Lenny Henry, no time for him. FJ Canal, I look at YouTube channels from a variety of different political views, because then I hear about different things that are ignored by mainstream media. You've got to. I can't stand it these days. It's like nowadays. I used to always hate having to go around the various supermarkets to get all the deals, because I'm lazy and I'd like to go to one supermarket and just do my shopping and then go home, because I hate food shopping. But you don't, because that supermarket's doing a deal there and that supermarket's doing a deal there. And I'm back in my physical state to getting driven around to all these little places throughout the week so I can get a big, do you know what I mean? And now you've got to do the same with your news. As I said to you on the show last week, everybody, you can't just rely on the BBC. You cannot just rely on ITN. And if you are, shame on you. You've got to go onto these other platforms and you've got to get the bigger picture. And then you've got to do what a lot of us have done and gone, well, how come such and such isn't talking about this? And I didn't know about this. And this is important. Lots of
Which
that
is why the government wants to ban them.
Well, that's the well, the BBC wanted rid of certain stations a year before they even broadcast.
Before they started, yeah.
Problem being, I was watching the behind-the-scenes stuff for Dot and Ethel and Space Babies, and I was shocked at how amateur the production was. I'm surprised you got through that, to be quite honest. Yeah. And then he's also saying all the clever bods left the BBC. Yes, they did, and they went to the alternative channels. A lot of people went to other places, or in this day and age set up for themselves on this very platform.
Yep.
Hello to Clive Williamson, who's in the chat. The BBC are always saying they don't want advertising, but quite happy to 100% own the UK TV network, You and Gold, etc., which shows loads of advertising. Yes, and also, you've reminded me, Clive, that should be the role model to say that the BBC can work in the same format, because they do well. Those repeat channels do well, and yet there's loads of advertising. And do you hear any of us moaning about it? No. And they do well. You know, I mean, look at the success of Bergerac on one of those channels.
Yeah.
You know,
was it Ustream? Was it?
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember lots of. I mean, hypocrites. They're all hypocrites.
I remember in the sorry, JT. I remember in the 1980s there was conversation. It would have been around the time of one of the charter renewals, because it's every 5 years, isn't it? And they were talking at that time. There was literally just BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and Channel 4. That was it. It was pre-satellite, pre-cable, the whole lot. And there was the argument about the BBC taking advertising, and the BBC argument at the time was there is not enough advertising capital and revenue to go around. And now you look how many channels there are today, quite happily feasting off that advertising revenue, way more than there ever was in the 80s. And you see that the BBC just flatly refuses. And how they can refuse that, it's the tail wagging the dog, isn't it? They should not be allowed to decide how they get public money. It's disgraceful, really.
I'd be looking, if I was as part of this, as part of Mike Britain, I would be looking through all the shows and looking at the ratings and trying to decipher why shows are not popular. Well, we know why, and really look at that. But I'd also be looking at what Robert Payne is saying here. We have a daytime schedule stuffed with cheap TV like Bargain Hunt, etc., but are still being fleeced for it. Now, why do we have daytime television? Now, I'm from an era that did not have daytime television. You had the test card on through the day, and that was enthralling. Enthralling. You know, I was fascinated by that occasionally. But you didn't put the telly on. You went out. Why do we have daytime television? Now, what I would say to the BBC as well is, I would look at the quality of the stuff first of all. I would look at how many people are watching it, and if it wasn't sustainable, I'd axe it.
Mornings used to be schools television, didn't it? And sometimes the classrooms would tune into it and watch a particular program. I mean, that actually served value. That was probably the last time that they did serve value, to be quite honest. But yeah, the people that want to watch, people that are housebound or whatever for whatever reason, and can, if they want to watch TV during the daytime, there is plenty to choose from. The BBC doesn't have to serve stuff up as well.
They could just save money. It's an example of saving money. And stop trying to compete with people you can't compete with, because we know that the majority of people do not have a household, like a TV license anymore now. So let them go to Netflix, let them go to Amazon Prime, let them go to their alternative news channels, let them go to wherever.
Yeah.
But if you want to save money, axe the daytime schedule, or you know, or stick a load of repeats on from your other channels if you're desperate, because I reckon the repeats would get more than what you're churning out in the evening. Lex, thank you for your super chat. I watched David Jackson documentary on the Blake 7 season 2 Blu-ray. I didn't know that he was born in Liverpool. He used his Scouse accent in Z Cars. It's great stuff. Yeah, David Jackson was from part of Liverpool. Yeah, and that reminds me, Lex will be joining me tomorrow, of course, for our latest Blake 7 review here on Whose Views at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We are up to season 2 Trial. There you go. So come and join us for that. Dirty Davros, JT and Ian, this week in the United States, English citizens are proudly waving the English flag. It's a shame that they have more freedom to express patriotism in my country than they do in their own. Thoughts? No, I'd agree with you. Yeah, for some reason, the Union flag and the English flag, for some reason over the years, has become associated with far-right politics, which is shameful and disgraceful and shouldn't be allowed. And I don't understand the shame in these flags and flying them. Starmer was banging on about it a few weeks ago, and he was missing the point as well. It's nothing to do with the far right, and I think that's disgusting that a flag that people died for in 2 world wars, not to mention the Falklands and several other little wars as well, should be tarnished in that way. I think it's disgraceful.
I mean, interesting thing as well is if you hang the Union Jack up outside your garden and somebody complains and the coppers come round. The interesting thing is, of course, on the coppers' tunics, they have the Union Jack. I mean, it's in dark stitching.
They're also emblazoned with the crown.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's interesting what Dirty Davros says there, though. But I saw something very interesting in the news because I know JT, you're not into the football or anything like that.
Yeah.
But a couple of nights ago, or a few days before, Morocco were knocked out. And these games are obviously in America, but they're watched all around the world. And there's quite a large Moroccan contingent in London, and they rioted. The Moroccan football fans rioted in London, and the police were there. There was not a riot shield or a baton or a helmet in sight. They were just ordinary police, and they were running away. There is plenty of video out there of them running away. Now, jump forward to last night, when there were people in London celebrating pretty much peacefully England's victory, because there was nothing to riot about, because it was good news. And the police were there, riot shields, the lot, people
of course they were,
stand up against walls and things like that. And you know, they say there's no such thing as two-tier policing, and then they do things like that so blatantly, and you just know you're being gaslit. It's horrendous.
It's this thing that they've all gone through called unconscious bias training. I've talked about it on the show before. If any of your employers tell you you are going on unconscious bias training, you tell them to unconscious bias off. Do not go on it. It caused a lot of problems for me in a professional life, in a previous job, but I was told what it was about, and I told them I am not going to be lectured to and told I am evil because of the color of my skin. That is ism. That didn't go down well with certain people, I can assure you. Oh, I'll tell all one day, I'll tell you. Philip Tassini is saying, I wanted to watch Only Fools and Horses. I couldn't find it on the BBC. Guess where it is? It's on the ITV player. Why? Why?
Oh.
Shown on the BBC for years. Why? What? Oh, I'm so confused with it all. QS, and they keep editing programs. It's ridiculous. That's the other thing. Yeah, I don't like it when they do that. Physical
media. Get physical media.
Got to get the physical media. Yeah, absolutely. What else we got here? FJ Canal is saying, yeah, if you have any problems with licensing, the black belt barrister is very good at saying what to do if you get a nasty letter. It's not often we will publicize other YouTube channels here on Whose Views, but this is one you guys introduced me to, and thank you again for doing it. The black belt barrister is superb, and he's brilliant. And I love it when they come knocking at his door and he says, can I help you? And then he has them. He is just amazing. So yes, good call, FJ Canal. It's a great channel. I've subscribed to it through my own personal account and also through Whose Views. And
he's got a channel on X as well. He's got an X account. It's worthwhile following on that for anybody.
Yes, I've got that one as well. I've got that one too. Yeah. Woodhouse 122 is saying to me that the new Bergerac is being shown on the BBC Two from next week. Yes, it is, because it's been that big a hit for them. It's really weird, actually. It's been that big a hit for them on the U channel. They think it's going to work for them now on the BBC, so they're transferring it over. They think they're going to get more people. I reckon everybody that is going to watch it on the BBC has already watched it over there. You know, I'm sure they have, because it did that well. Seagull, are you still having the Earthshock special at 8 p.m. on Wednesday coming? As there will definitely be something worth watching, hopefully on the BBC. Yes, this Wednesday we are reviewing Earthshock as part of our Cybermen at 60.
Oh, yes, of course. It's referring to the World Cup semi-final.
Never heard of it. So yes, we're doing that this Wednesday at 8. We're better. Funky, BBC also owns the two entertainment physical media companies. That's still going. I thought that had folded.
I don't know.
I thought that
it was a name at one point, wasn't it? You'd see it on everything.
It was on some of the DVDs. Look.
Yeah, it was always there to entertain. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't originally, and then it was for a while. And now it's not.
Was it absorbed into BBC Worldwide?
I don't know. Can't remember. It's in there somewhere, but I can't remember. Funky is saying, JT, I love how you understand the difference between a Union flag and a Union Jack. Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, Philip Roy. Stay tuned, by the way, Philip. I don't think the Double Deckers was foreign. All three of those shows have fab themes, though. Oh, he's in the middle of a conversation there, obviously. Yeah, but Phil Roy's with us there, so stay with us, everybody. Phil Roy
love the Double Deckers. I love the Double Deckers.
I remember the double deckers from when I was a kid. I used to love that as well. And then they brought out that chocolate bar, and I stuffed myself full of them because I just loved the TV show. Vile biscuit thing it was. Anyway, Philip is in the chat with us, so thank you, Philip, for that. And he has given us the trailer, the latest trailer for his fan-made film, Doctor Who the Scorpion. We're going to be showing that in this show, so everybody stay with us. If you haven't seen it, you're going to be very, very soon. Unconscious bias is on in itself. Bias has probably been, yeah, it absolutely is. It's disgraceful. A lot of you saying I should write a book. Maybe one day when certain time lapses have happened. Richard Brooks. Hello, Richard. How are you? Unconscious bias training contradicts other training. I had to complete online courses on conscious bias and lone working. Did you? God love you. Unconscious bias says my gut reaction is racism. The lone working says go. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Can't say much more. But yes, you're absolutely right. Avoid it. Avoid it like the plague. A lot of you have got some fantastic points about this, about the license fee. And the BBC and what's happening, everything like this. So yeah. Oh, what's this from PTA? JT, why don't you do channel memberships? Oh, actually, if you've got questions about like this, by the way, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be doing something called an audience with Who's Views, whereas myself and the panel from the team, whoever's available, are going to come on. We're going to have a drink. And you are invited to come and join us, basically, because we're going to have a team meeting online, if you like, and you'll be able to come and ask them these sort of questions. It'll be interesting. We've not done this before, but yeah, you can come and join us and ask questions and be part of the gig, basically. It's a Friday night in a couple of weeks' time. And these sort of questions you can ask. Right, PTA, why don't you do channel memberships? Well, one, because I'm lazy. And two, I don't think we're big enough yet, Who's Views, to be asking people to pay rent. Do you know what I mean, PTA? And I'm not that comfortable with that yet because we're only a little baby channel. We've only got over 2,005. I don't know. I mean, how we got now?
2,510
and something. Yeah,
like
yes. And you know, I know we had 3 months off, which didn't help because of me. Typical.
Yeah, how dare you?
I know. But I don't think we're that big yet. So it's a great question, actually, PTA, and you've put it in my head again. But I don't think it's the right time to say to people, and you can all email me or put it in the comments if you disagree, but I don't want to get you all paying for stuff at this stage. I don't know if it's the right time for all that. We can talk more about it if you like, and an audience with Who's Views in a couple of weeks. Sorry?
You feel comfortable about it, haven't you? Otherwise, it just feels like a calculated money grab, which isn't what this channel does. So, you know, I mean, things might change in a year post Blackpool and things like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if we get to a huge point where I can sustain stuff, then I might do, and be very grateful if anybody says, oh, yeah, I'd like to be part of that. But the option's still there, and I don't think this platform is going to take them away. But right now, PTA, everybody else, and if you think I'm wrong, let me know. And I don't know, but it was something I read before I got ill, and then I read it again before I got ill, and I thought, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that yet. But that's a great question, I think, Ian, isn't it? It's a lovely question.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael Nemo, haven't seen you for a while. How are you, my friend? Thank you for your super chat. I heard something online the other day. Jodie's stories are aging well. Really? What planet? If true, it shows me how bad the 15th Doctor was and how much people are starved for her. Oh, totally. If that's the case, I would totally agree with you. Because from what everybody tells me, it was awful. Yeah, I would say that, but it's not. Again, you're dealing with fans, don't forget, and you will be dealing with fans of that era to say it's aging. Because when Ncuti Gatwa was on, they were saying, oh, it's going to be great when Jodie Whittaker's Doctor series are reappraised like Colin Baker's have been. Well, there were like 40 years between Collins and now. You know, not 3 years between Whittaker and now, or whatever it is, you know. So I think a lot of that will be fans of that era pushing that as well.
40 years from now, Whittaker will be forgotten.
Who?
Very good point.
Thank you. Avon is saying he'll be there that Friday. Thank you. It's up on the channel for you now if you want to, you know, ring that bell. Can we have a drink too, says FJ Canal. Yes, you can. Bring a few
Compulsory.
cocktails with you.
It will be carnage.
I don't know what's going to happen on it. I mean, it's just basically, there's no slides, there's no agenda. It's just a chat. And you're all very, very welcome to join us that Friday night. We're just going to talk about stuff. And then whichever members of the panel can make it and turn up, we'll turn up. But I've said to everybody, we'll just have a drink, we'll have a chat, we'll go wherever we need to. And we'll talk about certain things we want to do to the channel. And if any of you guys join us, you can ask us questions. Oh, look at that. Farsight say, hey, make mine a shot of Bushmills. Oh, you've got good taste there, my friend. Put it on my tab. Deal. Avon is saying don't do paid memberships. I'm not going to yet, don't worry. I'm problem being saying to me, it's not how many subs you have, JT. Your ratio of subs to that chat engagement is really good. That's true, PB. That's true. Maybe one day in the future, but not just yet. I don't think we're that big. Put it to a vote, he says. Oh, we're gonna have a referendum. Woodhouse 122 saying Whittaker era who is and was unwatchable, and your Robert Payne coming back. Timeless Children is still rancid nonsense. Absolutely, isn't it shocking?
I agree with
we're
that.
still feeling the effects of it now with all this crap that they're churning out for fans called the circuit breaker nonsense. Michael Webster, thank you for your super chat. JT, Ian, and all her viewers, we are the Doctor's Army. There is evilness in this universe, and it must be fought. Oh, I've heard that before somewhere, Michael. I like that. That's good. Thank you for that. Randy Howell. I like his name. Randy Howell. Jodie fans, not enough of them in Canada to get our shows on streaming.
Can't think why. I knew that was coming.
You said it well there, Randy. You really did. We don't have Randys over here in the UK, you know. It's actually over there. It's Canada and America, isn't it, where you get a Randy? The first Randy I ever met in New York City, I was like, what? Because he said, hi, I'm Randy. What? Why are you looking at me? Do you know what I mean? I was very suspicious, Ian.
You've got to wonder what, yeah, you've got to wonder. I'm not going any further, no.
Oh, the adventures I've had, who viewers. I can show you. I can tell you the adventures I've had. Rocking Terry Lee is saying, who's Randy? Exactly. It was a shock. It was a shock, I tell you. It was in the village as well. The worst place for somebody to say that to an Englishman. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we, everybody? Good to see you on that one. But yeah, there we go. Let's have a look at the poll, Ian, and let's see what the results are of our poll. We have been asking you, how should the BBC move forward? Thank you so much to everybody that has voted in our poll. I asked you if you think it should be subscription, advertising, to keep the license fee, or other. I'm going to stop the poll now. And we're going to show it right here. I can tell you that out of the audience tonight, we've got over 230 people watching us at the moment. I can tell you that 46% of you went for subscription. 46% of you also went for advertising. Wow. 5% of you went for other, and 2% keep the license fee. Thank you for your honesty. For those of you who said that other, as I say after the show, in the comments, please put what your ideas are. And yeah, it'd be very interesting to see, because this is a great topic. It's a good topic. We are, of course, going to be keeping tabs on this here on this channel, because it's important, because, as I say, we're going to be looking at, is the BBC the natural home for Doctor Who in the future? That's a completely different discussion, but let's keep it going. Let's bring it into the chats. Let's see what's going on with it. Lex, thank you for your super chat. We've already done that, Lex. We did that at the top of the show. So you're late joining us, but thank you. We've already done that. Right, let's go on to that. I tell you somebody else that's unpopular with the majority of Doctor Who fans. Can you guess, Ian? There's a lot of them, isn't there, really?
Well, yeah, just one amongst the vast majority, probably. Would he have a name that sounds like, or rather is Moffat?
No, it's not him. It's the other one. It's the current, the guy that has just killed Doctor Who, nailed him to the ground.
Yeah.
Because congratulations to RTD, because he this week was announced as the second person in the 2026 Pride Power List, Russell T. Davis, OBE. Now, this was from the Diversity Umbrella and Stonewall organizations. RTD, OBE, he, him, is a screenwriter and television producer. RTD, best known for shows like Doctor Who, Queen of Thunk, and It's a Sin. Throughout his career, Russell has championed LGBTQIA+ stories, providing powerful weapon. He is also a passionate and vocal advocate for trans rights. Well, we all know that because that's all he ever does these days. He's vocal advocate for trans rights, to the fact that he shoehorned it into Doctor Who and therefore contributed to the destruction of Doctor Who by doing it. But I also have to tell you, a Diversity Umbrella and Stonewall, you are liars, because he has not always championed LGBTQIA+ stories, because the TQIA was enforced on LGB at around about 2015, 2016. So you are liars. Up until that particular point, he was advocating, as you call it, for same-sex attracted men and women, i.e. homosexual rights. Nothing to do with the TQ. What the hell is the IA+? So, you know, you are liars, and I stand by that. Come on the show and discuss if you're not happy. Oh, you can't. You blocked me on everything, you bloody idiots. But there you go. I mean, honestly, I will not bore you with this Pride Power List. And number one, of course, is a trans woman.
Naturally.
Obviously, but you go through it and there is not one center political view or slightly right. It's everybody that they would invite to the Attitude Awards. Do you know do you know the sort? Even the one that played, what's his name, that played Rose Noble in the Tenant thing.
Oh, Yasmin Finney.
Thank you. He's in there. Do you know what I mean? So it's full of the cult. It's the cult. So what that thing should be called, Who viewers, is the 2026 Pride TQ Cult Power List. And he's at number 2. And surprise, surprise, still is it?
Wrong with the country. So much of what's wrong with the country is scooped up in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Captured is the word we use, ideologically captured. Rick Storm is having a little bloop there. I don't blame you. Problem being delusional. That's a very polite word from problem being on that this evening.
More filth, PB. More filth, please.
Does RTD, asks Raymond Williams, ever speak to heterosexual people? He seems to live in a very small bubble. Yes, he does. It's a very small, poisonous, vile, arrogant echo chamber of far left ideological homophobia. And they're all blinded by the homophobia. So when somebody like me or Problem Being or Legion of James comes out and says, what you've just said is homophobic, head in the sand.
Yeah.
Immediately. Nothing to see here, head in the sand, not listening, because it goes against the belief system that we've all been preaching for several years now. And as Gareth Roberts said when he came on this show, they can't back out of it now, Ian, because they're so entrenched in the thing.
Yeah,
can you imagine now if RTD says, "Oh, I got that wrong," he'd be cancelled off everything.
Well, he said, didn't he, a few weeks ago, that did he say he had some straight friends or something like that, and some people went for him? He was under fire at one point from his own cult, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah. They didn't get him as much as I was hoping they would.
No, he died a death a little bit, didn't it? Which was a shame.
Because he moved on. He must have said something else or something. Or he's still, of course, off the back of the success of the TQ cult thing he's just had on Channel 4. Freudian slip. What's that called? Tippy Toey.
Yeah.
That's right. And he's about to get loads of awards. He's going to get loads of awards, everybody. Yeah. I guarantee you.
And loads more money when it goes to America.
Yeah. And then loads more when they start doing their own. Look, they'll flesh that out into 5 seasons for this thing. I tell you, honestly, they'll do the British version first, ka-ching, like they did with Queen Folk, and then they'll do 5 seasons of it, of Tippy Toey. Honestly. What else we got here? Oh, it's lovely to see you all in the chat. I love it when you're all chatting away. Frankie Stanage, Moffat has an OBE as well. He does. We're coming to him shortly. Stephen Braddock, they're all delusional lunatics. They're dangerous as well, as we've seen over so many weeks now. They are very dangerous. OBE for a super chat. One boiled egg, said Lex. Darren Reed's joined us there as well. Hello, Darren. How are you? Hope you're having a lovely day. One boiled egg.
Very good.
Dalek Shalom is saying to us, leave them to fester in their own slime. I wish I could. But the problem is, Dalek Shalom, they affect my life and everything I did in the late 80s, 90s, and turn of the century. And me being me, I can't allow that. And I will challenge them till my dying day. Touch wood. Won't be too long. It won't be, too far away. It's a long time away. But I can't do that. It goes against everything I was out there for. Prides, rallies, meeting MPs, writing to MPs, activism, proper activism with politeness. Oh.
I don't think they've got any idea, JT, what other friends of mine who were homosexual and campaigned certainly through the 80s and 90s spoke about what it was like and how hard it was and how violent they were met sometimes. And I think people nowadays that say we fought for this, they didn't fight for anything.
No.
It was people like you that fought for it, and now they've taken it over and twisted it.
And the generation before me and the generation before them. I mean, it all came from 1970, actually. The first Pride in America, of course, in New York City was in 1970, and it very closely followed by the British ones. But all that work we've done has been unraveled because, as I've said before on the show, I have this theory that around about the turn of the century, we almost had it. We almost had peace, as it were, in our world, the Western world. Anyway, we had nobody giving a toss basically, and everybody just trying to make their way through life. And then a new generation and people old enough to know better came along, thinking that's not good enough. We need to have something to fight for, and that includes Stonewall in this, who took on the whole TQ agenda and turned on the homosexuals. Anyway, RTD, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is at number 2 in the Stonewall and Diversity Umbrella 2026 Pride Power list.
Quite an apt number, isn't it, really, number 2?
Yep.
For RTD.
Yippee do to him, I say. In my book, you're in the gutter, pal. And that's where you are staying. Didn't understand Doctor Who, did he, when he brought it back? Not at all. And somebody that I would also argue allowed him to do that because they didn't understand Doctor Who is Jane Tranter. Now, this is an interesting thing. I think everybody, well, I found this interesting. So let's have a look. Jane Tranter, as you will know, was exec on RTD2, wasn't she? Also on the fishy thing, because she is Bad Wolf, along with Julie Gardner. It's their business. So how let down am I by Julie Gardner and Jane Tranter over Doctor Who? Allowing him to gob off like he did in the stories and producing or presenting a Doctor Who that he did, which was just so off the mark. I am so disappointed by those two women because they could have been onto a fortune now and a gold mine if they'd just done Doctor Who. Just
done it properly. Yeah. And you got the impression from them from the first time round that they actually did know what they were doing, because there were those times when they were having conversations in confidential or whatever after the actual episode had gone out, where they were talking about it and its making, and even he admitted that they'd pulled him up on stuff, said no, that doesn't sit right, and he'd look back at it and acknowledge that they were right and everything. So it was almost like they were a kind of like guiding hand in a way, and a safe pair of hands almost. But no, you can't think that anymore.
Well, I'll tell you who does. It's this article here, everybody, from IndieWire. Jane Austen has plenty of fans, but the other Bennett sister producer, Jane Tranter, never took the hit series' success as a given. The seasoned TV executive and proven producer knows how to make hits. But she tells IndieWire even she didn't expect the Jane Austen spin-off to be quite such a smash hit here and across the pond. Now, this is what we talked about a few weeks ago. This is the other Bennett sister, which none of us had heard of because it's not our thing. A couple of you in the chat had heard about it and appreciate it and watch it and love it. Fantastic. But you may remember just a few short weeks ago, they announced a three-part, I think, Christmas special for the other Bennett series, which must have shaken up certain other commentators about Doctor Who, because they all assumed that was going to be the Doctor Who Christmas special. It's not. It's the big hit they've got. The big hit they've got, which is the other Bennett sister. Doctor Who was not a big hit for Bad Wolf. This one is the big hit. And this is what she's talking about now. But I just thought this was a bit, looking at it through Doctor Who fan eyes, I just thought, what are you talking about, IndieWire? Jane Tranter knows good television, it starts off with. The former BBC programming head, at one point during her tenure with the broadcaster, her official title was Head of Fiction, which put her in charge of original drama series, original comedy, original films, and overseas acquisitions. In 2015, Jane Tranter left the BBC to form production shingle Bad Wolf with Julie Gardner, so named after a Doctor Who storyline. Yes, Tranter also helped bring back the beloved sci-fi series when she was at the BBC. In the past decade plus, Bad Wolf has helped make a series of diverse and lauded as the Night of, the most recent Doctor Who incarnation, A Discovery of Witches, Lady in the Lake, Industry, and the recent hit, The Other Bennett Sister. It's that latest series success that Jane Tranter is touting these days. I bet she is. No wonder. This charming 10-episode series based on Janice Hadlow's novel of the same name was a smash hit in its homeland, becoming the UK's biggest drama across all platforms and streamers since May 2025. When it arrived in the US and Canada via streamer BritBox, interest stayed big, driving a ton of new subscribers, more than 40% of whom had watched the series on the streamer. But Tranter never counts on success, just as well. I have learned over the years to really focus on each day, to really focus on why everyone is making this, and let us try and enjoy the process of making it, and to strive and challenge each other to make it as good as we possibly can be. Tranter told IndieWire over Zoom, I've long since learned not to make it for success. You can't make it for the outcome. You hope for the outcome. Clearly, you wouldn't make television if you weren't in the business of wanting millions and millions of people to see the stories that you want to tell, but you can never guarantee it. It continues. It's clear that Tranter loves the show, and that kind of passion has long driven her work. Tranter said that in her early days at the BBC, she would feel a spark for the projects she knew she'd personally love to watch. She particularly mentioned Wives and Daughters, The Way We Live Now, and the 2008 Sense and Sensibility miniseries. But she also worked to connect with a much broader audience than that. I tried very hard not to just commission to my own taste. I'm not saying that there is a badge of honor to take a really long time, but then what you have to wait for is, when is the right time for the world to see this? Tranter said, I think that if we had made The Other Bennett Sister a few years ago, maybe in the time just after the C Word, when the whole world seemed to be kind of booming and it was like, it's okay, the bad times are behind us, Mary may not have had so many of the eyes of the world on her so compassionately in the same way. But now the world needs Mary Bennett and can see her and recognize her and respond to her. Sometimes it's about waiting for the right moment. I'm a great believer in the right project, the right moment. And if it's a project that I'm passionate about, I won't stop. What is it about this series that hit with those long-time fans and lots of newbies? Jane Tranter noted that she's been delighted and surprised by the number of people, including men in their 70s, who have said to me that costume drama is not really my thing, but I really love Mary Bennett. It's fresh and it's half-hour episodes that gives it the lightness. It's painful, but it's also really funny, Tranter said. I began to think as we were nearing going through the post-production and putting the music on and looking at the grade and seeing its beauty and its wit and its emotion, that this sort of transcends being a Jane Austen adaptation or a period piece, or any of those things, and therefore it might do okay in the US. She also pointed to the incredible support of BritBox, who really put their shoulders behind it. She did Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? I mean, she had a massive flop with Doctor Who, Ian.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that Doctor Who she was actually paying attention to. I get a feeling that perhaps she was just signing stuff off and not really paying much attention to what was actually going in front of camera, because nothing that she allowed to go through with RTD2 and the fish thing matches anything that she's saying about television there. Nothing at all. So she's either talking bullshit, and I wouldn't put that past her, or she really didn't have her eye on Doctor Who at all and was just taking the plaudit in the hope that it was successful, because then it's another medal.
There seems to be a hell of a lot of contradiction from and you guys in the chat, keep this coming, and we'll come to you in a sec. Craig Dunlop saying to us, I don't even know who the first Bennett sister is. And Funky with the super chat saying, Jane Tranter, get back to mapping out 80s TARDIS on the rehearsal floor. See what you did there. Yeah, thank you for that, Funks. Thank you for your super chat. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Ian, because I read this and what she's saying there, and I just thought, you did RTD2 Doctor Who. This shows you, in my mind, Ian, just how much power RTD had over Doctor Who. And I think you could be right. I think certain people were just saying, he knows it. He made a huge success of it the first time. Let him do what he wants. And perhaps even if they did discover what he had done, maybe it was too late. But I think they did turn a blind eye. Phil Collinson knew, but because he's part of the whole Kiss Ass Brigade, he wasn't going to challenge them. Maybe there was an element where they wanted to challenge but didn't. We're never going to know. Well, maybe we will one day, but certainly right now we're not going to know.
It'll be a bit longer before it comes out.
Oh, totally. It's going to be years. But also, I mean, they'll all have to be retiring before the truth starts to come out. But hang on a minute. Well, they must be in their 60s now, all of them. We know RTD's the same age as Doctor Who. So the others must be around that age as well. I think Collinson's nearer to my age, so he's nearly 60. Anyway, what she's saying there, and what that article with IndieWire is actually claiming, then why didn't you do the same thing with Doctor Who? What went on? What was going on with that?
But then around the same time, RTD was coming out and saying he was untouchable, that nobody dare argue with him. He used those words. So, I don't, but if they did sit back and say, all right, he knows what he's doing, he's a safe pair of hands. I mean, God's sake, anybody that thinks RTD is a safe pair of hands is insane. But if they did think that, then they should have known better, because they would have known what he was like better than anybody. So they must have had an idea what he was going to do.
He's very charming as well, isn't he, when he was around people that adore him and like him?
Oh, we can talk total guff and get people fawning over him. Absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
But that's just showing his skill as a manipulator, isn't it?
Allegedly. Yeah.
Yes.
So they've got this big success with the other Bennett sister. They could have had a huge, big success with Doctor Who had they just reined him in. Had they just said, no, can you just leave the politics out of this? Can you just write a science fiction show? Can you try and do that? Or if you can't do that, can you get people in that can? You know, rather than all this nonsense that we had. Maybe they should have said, we don't like the direction that you're planning to take Ncuti's Doctor. We don't like the casting of Ncuti Gatwa, or something along those lines. Do you understand what I'm saying, Who viewers? When you look at what she's saying there, and they're never ever going to come out and say, would you like to talk to us about what went wrong on Doctor Who? Only somebody as cheeky as me is going to say that to Julie Gardner or Jane Tranter or Russell T Davies or Phil Collinson. I would say to them, do you want to talk about what went wrong with Doctor Who? Because it's going to be shoved under the carpet, isn't it? And they're going to look at Tippy Toey. They're going to look at the other Bennett sister. Oh, we've just got Christmas specials. Yay. We've got massive audience for that. Why didn't you then for Doctor Who? If you know television, like IndieWire suggests, Ms. Tranter, then why did you get it so wrong with Doctor Who? whosviews1@gmail.com. Come and talk to us. We have an audience here who would like to ask some questions. We have questions. Andy Forrest said to us, Jane Tranter is taking credit for anything that is nailed down. with Frankie saying, Tranter trying to save her tarnished career. The problem is it's not tarnished, because they will never talk about the failures.
No.
You know, and the fact that, as we all know, the BBC press release didn't blame anybody either. It didn't say it was all very nicely done, which is why, as RTD said, it was going through various BBC checkpoints, if you like, to say the wording was correct before they released it, because they didn't want to blame it on anybody. They didn't want anybody to be looked at negatively. We're going to come to Stephen Moffat soon, who says an awful lot, as you possibly know, about YouTube people, including all of us, by the way. Steve Braddock was saying, yeah, the other Bennett sister didn't message or lecture and just entertained, and lo and behold, it's a huge hit. Yeah, exactly, Steve Bennett. And I know you're one of the people in our chat that watch it and love it, and good for you. But why was the other Bennett sister treated with respect and treated as entertainment, and Doctor Who was treated for propaganda?
Yeah.
Maybe Disney, says Phil Roy, are waiting for the right moment to release the fishy thing. Maybe 2032. It's never going to happen. I don't think. And you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think that Disney have any interest in showing the fishy thing. I don't think they're going to show it.
I think that's their tax write-off, and if they then show it, they'll probably have to pay the tax back that they get written off. I think it's a convenient tax write-off for them. Just mark it down as an absolute disaster that they decided not to show and claim all the tax back.
Yeah. You're on fire tonight, according to Terry Leptel.
Thank you, Terry.
And Farsight saying to us, Jane Tranter, I did mention Doctor Who, but I think I got away with this. Something we won't allow them to be. We will hold them responsible. I would love to speak to these people.
Yeah,
Phil Collins,
be great,
well.
wouldn't it?
I would love to. Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
They just won't expose themselves to that kind of scrutiny, though.
No, because they don't like hearing reality. They don't like hearing anything that goes against the narrative.
They can't handle it. They can't cope with it.
No, they can't. They really can't. Space Peninsula wants to know, why is she doing an interview about the other Bennett sister when it aired months ago? Is this a cleanup job to distract from the Doctor Who failure and much needed good press for Bad Wolf? Well, it comes off the back of the announcement they're getting a Christmas special, so they're going to be gearing up to that now, and there will be the press junkets for it, ready for the December publications. They'll do a screening of it for the press as well to get the reviews ready for it. There'll be publicity for that, because it's the only thing they've got at the moment, really, apart from this thing for Netflix. Because, yeah, I think part of it, Space Peninsula, will be, let's not talk about Doctor Who, let's just ignore that. You know? Because you know who doesn't necessarily want to talk about it, does he? Because he wants to focus now on getting all the awards for Tippy Toey, and then he also wants to know It's a Sin musical. Oh, and I've got this thing that I'm going to be writing now, which is going to be put out, which will be filming in 2027 for screening in 28. So he's preparing for that. That's all we'll hear about for them.
Anything to distract from failure as well for RTD. Anything.
Phil Collinson had no power ever. The stories I've heard about him from university, says Funky. Oh, really? Oh, really? Pop it on a postcard.
Or two.
Randy Howell is actually just saying to us that she's 63. So the same age as for RTD. They are old enough to know better, basically, on all this sort of stuff. What else we got? Yeah, and Collinson is 55. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that one, for the two of you. Appreciate that. We've got this from Paul. Thank you so much, mate, for your super chat. RTD filmed 2 seasons at once before anything aired, so nobody could change it. Therefore, Disney had no input. The blame lays totally on the BBC. That happens an awful lot now as well. They're doing the same thing with the new Harry Potter series for HBO. They suddenly decided they were going to film series 2 back to back with series 1, which was not the original plan. And I think, Tall Paul, Who viewers, Ian, that was because of the backlash, because of their woke casting. Because I haven't spoken to Kirsty about this yet, by the way. We were going to do reviews of this thing on this channel. And the more I hear about it, the less I like it. And I don't know if I want to. Anyway, we'll deal with that at Christmas time. But I just thought this is going so far away from those beloved books and J.K. Rowling's vision and what she wanted to do, because they're adding bits in, Ian, and they're making things up, and they're taking characters.
I thought she had creative control over this.
Apparently she doesn't.
Oh.
Apparently she did over the films.
That's a real shame then.
But allegedly, not so much with the TV show. So, and she allegedly she's been at loggerheads with the production team to say, this is my story, not yours. You don't change a thing. And they've just gone, we don't care. So she's going to ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. But her artistic integrity, quite rightly, is turning around saying, no. And they're not listening. Allegedly. We're going to try and get more details of that. But that's what they do. I mean, they did the same thing with that awful, allegedly, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. They did series 1 and 2 back to back. So even though the thing has been canned and Star Trek is out of production, just like the Doctor, they've got a second series to show at some point. Where and when is anybody's guess. I would say the sooner they get it out there and get it rested, the better. Get it out the way.
They never learned any lessons from Star Trek Discovery, to be quite honest, because that was derided, and that ran. I think they squeezed about 6 seasons out of that. God knows how, because it was awful, just full of people crying all the time. It was embarrassing. I
heard a lot about it from a Star Trek fan of mine who watched the first 2 episodes and was so upset. He said, I can't watch this. Can't watch it. Lex, thank you for your super chat. It still says no name search on it on Disney Plus USA. There has been no official US release for the fishy thing on Blu-ray. Now, the fact is, this is what I'm going to say to you, Lex, and everybody else. Oh, and Elvis is with us. Oh, I've lost you. Elvis is there in the chat. I've just seen him. He did. There you are. Elvis, hello. Thank you for that, Lex. Elvis, how are you? Disney got scammed by RTD with his silver tongue and false promises. I actually agree with you. A lot of fans, of course, blame the downfall of the recent Doctor Who on Disney. I disagree. No, it was down to RTD. Every single one of those things was RTD. It was his agenda. Yes, as a production partner, Disney would have asked for certain things, but they walked away. Now, that tells you more.
It does.
They walked away. That was shocking. And the fact that they did walk away with all that money should tell everybody that they were embarrassed by the blooming thing. The fact that they haven't shown the fishy thing is another thing, Ian, I think. When it comes to the Blu-rays, this is my theory. So let me know what you think about this, Who viewers. They might have been able to produce it over here on Blu-ray, like they did with series 1 and 2 of the Gatwa crap. But Disney held the distribution rights anywhere out of the UK. So does that mean that if BBC Studios wanted to put out the fishy thing and the Gatwa series, they would have to get permission, or surely they would have to get permission or pay Disney for that, because they were part producer. So has series 1 and 2 of Shooty's series been released abroad on Blu-ray? I'm not so sure. In which case, if it has, that just shows you how much disrespect they all have for that fishy thing.
Yeah,
because that hasn't been.
I mean, they put in so much money though.
Oh, huge, billions.
For a relative handful of episodes. So those episodes would have had more money spent on them per episode than any ever in the history of Doctor Who. And the fact that they turned out that level of crap was just unbelievable. Really was. Shocking.
Chris Graham, controversial, but I liked Holly Hunter's Captain in Starfleet Academy. There's an actress that was wasted. Strange actress, though. But if you liked it, good for you.
Yeah.
Sheriff Brackett saying Disney ruins all they touch, but Who was already ruined. That is a point. That was a point. Yeah. Randy saying to us, I saw Dr. Shooty's DVD for season 1 on sale here in Canada. Okay.
Right.
So if that's been released, surely Disney must have given its permission at some point for that. I don't know. Mind you, we know now with the new tender, which still hasn't been released yet, that the BBC is keeping all sales control of it. Maybe they just haven't released it over in America yet because they know it would be a flop. Or maybe they can't release it on Blu-ray until they've shown it on Disney.
Just imagine all those people wondering after they rode in that subway vehicle that was all decked out with Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who. Do you remember it? They painted that underground carriage.
Oh gosh, of course, yeah, we reported it, didn't we?
And they had the police box thing at one of the Disney places, didn't they?
All of the Disney places.
Yeah, all the people that saw those or rode on that rode on that subway car thinking, I really wish I could buy the DVD box sets.
Can't wait
Or
to
maybe
see
not.
this. Yeah, can you imagine? Because it was New York, wasn't it? Can you imagine
Yeah.
the New York? Because what the hell is this crap? They would have ignored it. They're too busy getting on the bloody tube train and getting off the thing. JT, none of the Disney stuff in the UK has any mention of Disney on the packaging, even the Tenant. Really? I wouldn't know because I've never handled it, never looked at it.
No.
Yeah, never looked at it. I'm not interested, as you all know. Watching it was bad enough. But Lex is saying to us that the Gatwa era is Doctor Who Blu-ray seasons are available in the US with the following release dates. Season 1, 2024, released on 24th of June, 25. And Season 2 was released on June the 2nd, 2026. So that's now.
Just out a month ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
I wonder what
Something's
the
gone on
sales
there,
are.
you know. Something's gone on there. That's all I'm saying. Something's gone on.
I don't think it would have hit the top 10, do you?
No, I haven't. I don't think that at all. Not at all. Yeah. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your thoughts in the chat on that one. And of course, I just thought the whole Train Tranter thing was interesting to have a quick discussion about everybody, because I was stunned when I read it. I just thought, hang on a minute, you did Doctor Who, and you're saying all these things about, from your experience, about what makes good television. You did Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's contradictory, isn't it?
Hypocritical, yet again. It's one thing they all have in common, in my opinion. Let's get on to some good news now, shall we, everybody? Because, yes, if you haven't seen it, yesterday, Phil, who was in the chat with us, hello to Phil, released the brand new trailer for his Doctor Who fan-made film. I have to point that out. Doctor Who meets the Scorpion. Now, Phil tells me that he's busy working on this now. And it's not going to be too long, ladies and gentlemen, before this arrives. It's going to go onto YouTube. Isn't it, Phil? Correct me if I am wrong. It's going to go onto YouTube. We will, of course, be publicizing that for him as well. And we'll be putting it onto our Facebook page and our Instagram and everything else, of course. But delighted to say, you ready for this, Ian? Delighted to say,
really ready for this. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, Phil's giving it to us now. This is the latest trailer for the up-and-coming fan-made film, Doctor Who meets the Scorpion. Here we go.
Beware the Scorpion, Doctor. It is coming, Doctor. The Scorpion is bringing the darkness. The darkness. The darkness!
Ah, Doctor.
I need to find out who or what this Scorpion is. An image like that is pretty specific.
They're coming.
Who's coming?
Bullets won't harm it. Face your fear, Jenny.
The harvest must begin soon.
There you go, everybody.
Oh,
It gives you that old sort of old school feels, doesn't it? Phil is saying, yes,
Yeah,
it's going to be on this platform here, YouTube, for the fans to watch for free. So good for you, Philip. Good for you. I hope you can monetize it and get some grotsits for that. But what do you make of that in the chat, everybody? Till Paul is actually saying to me, JT, the BBC has released the fishy thing. There's a review online. Over in the States, is there? Oh, interesting. Shane, see, we didn't get to hear any of that, did we?
no.
The trailer looks fab, says Julianne. Hi, Julianne. How are you? Oh, brilliant. Chris Kaz is saying to us, I haven't seen any of the previous episodes, Phil. Where can I watch them? Well, this is the thing. There aren't any. You're starting brand new with Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. This is the first one. It could be more. You never know. You'll need financial help to do them, won't you, mate? But you're coming to it, Chris, like the rest of us. This is brand new. This is fresh. Problem being is going, ooh, Benny likes that. John Roberts, that looks fabulous. Fubba da bum, says he, Robert Payne. Funky is saying too, Philip, I thought when seeing this, a great Doctor, but he'd also be a great Jeff Randall. Oh, bless you. Problem being, there's already more Doctor Who in that one trailer than the entirety of the past 7 years. Marine Boy, hiya. Proper Who. Proper Doctor Who, says Richard Brooks. Excellent, Philip. Forbidden Man is saying, what a bit of fun to look forward to, isn't it just?
Yeah.
Who is the male lead, says Avon? Well, he's in the house, isn't he? He's in the house, everybody. So he's in there.
In the house.
Clive Simpson, I went to Madame Tussauds yesterday and was shocked to see a full-size TARDIS and Ncuti Gatwa stood outside it. It flopped, didn't it? Yes, it did. How many people were standing next to it? You. Yes, I can tell you, Clive. Did you draw a moustache on him? Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah.
He'll be melted down in a couple of months to make a couple of jumps or something.
He's on a time limit in there, I'll tell you. Digital pollution. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Absolutely. Matt Inspiel, I know, nice to see you. Now that is proper Doctor Who. Fantastic work to all involved. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Epic work, Phil, says Lex Kane already. He's giving it a score on the TARDIS door. And ooh, a proper looking TARDIS gets my vote. Looking good, Phil, says Darren Reed. Yeah. Stuart Barham, it looks so good. So thank you for that, Stuart. Love the model shot of the TARDIS, says Problem Being. Richard Brooks is saying all the best, Phil. And Problem Being also saying the music was really good too. Yes, it was. We're going to be talking about that on the show in time. So make sure you're still subscribed, everybody. Philip Shaw is saying, "Oh, it looks impressive. The Dalek arrives, still gives a thrill." Does, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? That music sting as it just seeing the very top of it as well. It was
that lovely hint.
I like the sound on the Robo Man too, but that I've got to say what PB said, that TARDIS in space opening shot was beautiful. Really
We've got a round of applause there and a huge smiley face from Julianne. Steve Andrews is saying looking forward to it. Steve Braddock. So who says there's no Doctor Who in 26? Proper scare. What was this? So who says there's on?
I think that's no rather than on.
Yeah, so who says there's no Doctor in 2026? I see. Proper scary atmospheric Doctor Who. Thanks, Phil. I can't wait. Nice one, Philip, says Kev Taylor. And the Jason Parker. Oh, yes, this feels good. This reminds me of the good times during the post-1989 wilderness years with great content like this. The show being cancelled is wonderful. Long live the show. Exactly. Yeah. And Phil Roy saying to us, the man himself, yes, some lovely TARDIS model work by Steve White. We have some great model work on the film. Can't wait. Can't wait. It looks good from that TARDIS, doesn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
Really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul is saying to me, no, the fishy thing was issued in England. Yeah, we know that. We just didn't look at it. We know that. It was America we were talking about there, Paul. Bill Lowry, something Who related we can actually look forward to. And Jason G saying, well done, Phil. Doctor Who made with passion, care, and more. That's what you need for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And Matt Enspiel is saying, oh, I didn't know it had a Dalek in it. I got so excited I almost dropped my sausage.
Well, pick your sausage up, give it a dust off, and before you nibble on it, be aware that there's more than one.
Where have you been, Matt, when we've previewed this before? Where have you been? Pay attention, young man, or you'll be put in the corner.
We'll have to give him lines. We'll have to give him lines.
Yes, indeed. But yes, the Daleks are very much in this. And Lex is saying to us, Phil has got a true Time Lord look.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of your nonsense, I tell you. What else we got? What else we got? John the Computer Doctor. Phil has put a hell of a lot of work into the production. Very well done. He has put a lot of work into it and dedication, and it's still doing it because it's on the way to being finished. Selgress 2, nice to see you. Great stuff. Welcome to Who's Views. Not seen you before. It's nice to see you. Hello. Margie 75 is saying brilliant. Congratulations to the Doctor. Kill is saying, ooh, Robomen and Daleks, gimme now. It's not long. Not long. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
See, this is a steel book that I would buy. Yeah.
Well, Phil's just been talking about that because Funky mentioned something about something like that. Richard Brooks is saying we're all rooting for you, Philip. And Phil's got back to him saying, I think the BBC may get a bit antsy about that IP with a DVD release. They absolutely would. They wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like it. We had that in the 90s when they were worldwide and enterprises. Yeah. So a lot of us have learned from that. Yeah, you've got to be careful. But now with the advent of YouTube, let's see what happens. Avon is saying this is great.
Very busy because somebody's done Doctor Who that he couldn't do.
Yeah, yeah. Looks great, says Avon. Richard Brooks saying to us, I'm really excited to watch Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. And Clive Simpson saying to us, I got shivers. That sounds like a song. Dee-dee-dee. I can't sing it. Oops. Olivia Newton-John. Oh, bless her. What else? Richard Brooks is saying to Matt, always take great care of your sausage. Welcome to Who's Views, everybody. This is the audience we have. It would be great to see it on the big screen, says Lex. Well, get yourself to Blackpool in May because we're working on it. There you go. That's all I'm saying right now because nothing's finalized yet, but you never know what might happen. Well, you never know. You never know. Early days. Got great Doctor Who feels, says John Roberts, like I did for the fan-made Star Trek Continues. Oh, that's nice to know. That's good, isn't it? And Robert Payne is saying there's just no good reason why the BBC couldn't do Doctor Who as good as that. And that's just the trailers. Of course, we're going to... Sheila being the devotions is saying to you, Phil, it's truly epic. That's lovely. And here's Phil. Here's the man himself. Phil Roy saying to us, thanks to everyone for the lovely supportive messages. That's what it's all about here. Yeah. And Glenn Piper, I feel a Doctor Who marathon coming on. Watch all the classic series in order. Well, good for you, Glenn, because by the time you've done that, it'll be the turn of the century. No, I'm kidding. But listen, stay with us here on Who's Views, of course, because we are going to be reviewing Phil's Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion film. We are going to be reviewing it on the show. We haven't quite decided how to do it yet. There's a possibility we might all do it live at the same time, so you get initial reactions. That's one thing. It might come up in our audience in a couple of weeks' time. I don't know. How would you lot do it? Let us know. But it's something we've got to discuss and we've got to play around with. But we are going to be reviewing it, and because it's here on the Tube of Who, which of course we all have, it was an idea that we could all watch it together. It could turn into a nightmare, actually.
Fun to try, though, wouldn't it?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll discuss it. But yeah, it's coming soon. And again, thanks to Paul. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to Phil for sending that. He's actually here, Philip Roy. We started filming July 2023, but a couple of years before that on the script. Goodness me, there you go. And Selgress, yes, here on YouTube. Starship Fan Productions suffered a bad fate due to copyright when Discovery came out. Yeah, I heard that. I absolutely heard that. Yeah. It's like with the same thing. As soon as they got rid of George Lucas, who nurtured all the fan stuff, didn't he? He nurtured all the films, and he would sometimes say to them, come in and we can help you with certain bits and pieces. As soon as he went, they clamped down on everything, saying, no, you can't do anything because it's not going to make us any money.
Yeah.
And it can't make you money because that's our IP. That's the corporate world for you today. Never mind the fans and creativity and art. Where's the ka-ching coming from?
They'll see everything as competition rather than expanding their story, because all it does is push new people towards the official stuff as well. But they don't see that. They're a little bit short-sighted.
Yeah. Steve Braddock saying to us, I've been following Phil's Scorpion project since inception. It's nearly here. The Doctor at last. That's great to know. Funky is asking Roy, are you scared about Who's Views reaction more than making it? Yes, he's terrified. He's terrified, aren't you, Phil? Shaking in his boots, he is, I tell you. Sheila B. and the Devotion saying, wow, it was a long time in the making. And that means quality, though. And Terry Leptil, fan films always show up the right holder's own productions. Look at Star Trek Axanar fan film, the Paramount killed because it was way too good.
Yeah.
I've always said, I mean, this is one thing that George Lucas got right. When he saw talent, he hired it. Didn't he? He kept it in-house. He went, I'm having that. I'm gonna let that person go on our projects. That's how you do it. John, the computer doctor, saying, watch it together now. That would be family viewing. Could well be, couldn't it? And Selgrass again saying to us, I hope that these Doctor Who projects do not run afoul of the BBC. Fingers crossed. Well, there are certain other people doing ridiculous things out there running around saying the Doctor with a bloody sonic screwdriver, aren't they? And they don't seem to have been. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine because they've been doing it while the blooming thing was in production. And as problem being said to us here, Ian, it might be easier now. Doctor Who is out of production.
Well, yeah, you would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would
And
think
he's
so.
also saying what I've just said. There's loads of Who fan films and audios with no issues. Exactly. Exactly. Let's have a look. Let's see what helps. Glenn Piper saying fan films made are the future. They certainly are right now, Glenn.
Yeah.
They will be right now, I can tell you. Okay, so thank you for that, Phil. Really appreciate it. We're going to be keeping you up to date, of course, with what's going on with that. Not long to wait now, everybody. The new Doctor is almost here in 2026. Yay! That's what we like, isn't it, Ian?
Certainly is. Great Doctor, gorgeous companion, fantastic monsters, great scripts. What
Great
more?
music, special
Yeah,
effects,
hell.
models, lots
Yeah.
of time on it. I'm really looking forward to it. Make
When
sure,
was
of
the
course, that you are subscribed to the channel as we move forward to this. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel if you've been with us for a while. Thank you also very, very much, because we are going to be looking at it. Let's see what format we come up with, shall we, everybody? It's going to be fun, though. It might be Hamlet, but it'll be fun, fun, fun.
When was the last time, though, that you watched something Doctor Who in recent years and actually got a shiver? Wasn't anything the BBC put out, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No. Show it on Christmas Day, and it could be this year's Christmas special, Stephen O'Neill. We want to get to it before it comes out. It's going to be before December with touch wood, isn't it, Phil? So yeah. But we'd like to get to it before that. We've got lots of plans for you at Christmas, by the way. Don't worry. We're gonna have fun. Okay, let's get into this. Talking of fun. Yeah. We're gonna oh, I don't know how to introduce this. Stephen Moffat, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
JT. Just dive straight in.
It's Stephen Moffat, everybody. Yay! I hear you all say. I know you're all excited about this, but we've been talking on and off over the last goodness knows how many months now about this channel called Half the Picture, which a lot of you have now found, of course. Now, they do a lot of interviews, and you can tell that Billy, who's Half the Picture, is a Doctor Who fan. He's been born into Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. He's one of those particular fans. And he says with disdain and disgust. But there we are. So he's grown up with RTD, Moffat, Chibnall, RTD. And on this channel, of course, he's spoke to Murray Gold.
Yeah.
Which we're not going to remember. We're not going to let anybody forget, because that's where Murray Gold, of course, said RTD's written several scripts, which everybody picked up on, including us. Really nice interview with Peter Capaldi we talked about. And now he's got Stephen Moffat. It's as though Moffat has gone and said, oh, well, if you've had those two, I'll go and do this as well. But there's some interesting stuff in this. Now, you may have already seen this interview, but it's interesting to be to talk to you guys about this. We're going to play some of this interview for you here, if this works. It should do. We're going to play some of this interview for you first. We're going to talk about bits as we go through this. Okay, Ian, is that all right with you?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, then let's have a look at this, everybody. Go.
In the last couple of weeks, it has been back in the headlines again. I mean, obviously,
it's really good. Yeah.
No, well, I know you've been asked about this before, but it is an interesting period, it seems, for the show. And Murray was even talking about this when he came on, about how the future of the show maybe is a little bit in question. And like,
do you know, well, so long as everybody is talking about the future of the show, do you know what the show has? It's a future. No one cares about Doctor Who anymore, screams 14 headlines. Think, well, do you read your own work back, you pellets? Dear God.
Yeah.
Like, people are circling already, trying to get hold of that. Just be fine. Be fine. It might take a moment, but if it's an entirely new team, which I think it will be, they need a moment.
Yeah.
They need a moment to sit back and say, okay, what's it going to be this time? Who's it going to be this time? What sort of show is it going to be? They need a moment. Don't go rushing into that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you've got all of Doctor Who, all of it on your iPhone, right? You can sit and watch anything that we haven't accidentally lost. And you'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
Just watch it all end to end and give them time to get them going. But it will be back, and it will be good.
So I want to pause it at that particular point. So this is a message we've had from him before, isn't it, Ian? Where Moffat has said, you've got all of Doctor Who to watch. You've got the original run from 63 to 89, then you've got all the modern nonsense as well. So you've got lots of Doctor Who. again, I'm going to say it's as though they are so determined, Ian, to say that everything is fine. There is nothing to see here. This is fine. This is how the industry operates, blah, blah, blah. Don't panic about it. It's as though they're covering up the fact it is out of production.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And there's an awful lot of negative stuff, as we talked about right at the very start of the show. There's an awful lot of negative stuff swirling around in relation to the series. And whilst that's going on, who's going to want to come in and say, we want that, we want to make that? They're not going to want any of that associated with it, are they?
No, I don't. I mean, he's saying there's people circling around it already. Not what we've heard.
No.
It's not what we've heard at all.
No.
And you know, who viewers, we have people that work in the industry with us. We know people in the industry. I'm not claiming
We've proved
stuff.
it, haven't we? We're not we're not one of those channels, let's be honest, that says we know people and then that's it and just hope people believe us.
Yeah.
We've had people on. We've had people on.
We have, and we do know people. And when we ask them and they say, "Have you heard anything about it?" No.
Yeah.
So he's saying that they've had people circling around it already. How? The tender process isn't even around. Who would have? If they have, it's been very small or very slight. Because if there had been big people, we would have heard if they'd inquired.
Yeah, but how would he be privy to that information as well? He's got nothing to do with the production of Doctor Who.
He says that in this interview, doesn't he? He does say that.
You
know,
he's contradicting himself, really. But I don't know.
Do not look behind the curtain. There's nothing to see, says Chris Kaz. Rocking Terry Lee says, I don't have an iPhone. Neither do I.
Ditto. Yeah.
Dalek Shalom. Moffat's masterclass in passive aggression. Problem being, how about making it like Doctor Who? Yeah. What else we got? Oh, what else we got? Lots of you in the chat talking about this particular one. We've got lots more coming up from this, by the way. Randy Howell. Lots of brand damage with old fans and kids have no idea Doctor Who exists. That's true. That's very true. That's why we've got this CBBC thing coming, because they must have seen the writing on the wall when that was tendered for. Yeah. You've got this thing where we've got to get the young kids in because the main show isn't capturing them anymore, which was the whole point of Doctor Who. Some of us were watching it at 5 years old, if not younger, back in the day. We didn't need something on kids' telly to get into Doctor Who. And then there's no way, or there's no thought about how the youngsters who get into this silly CBBC cartoon for under fives, how they jump from that to a television series. Oh, by the way, there isn't a television series on.
It's very well thought out, and by that I don't think it's thought out at all. But you're absolutely right. We had no problem. I mean, I was 6, 7 when I first watched it, Pertwee's penultimate season and all that. And it was a perfect jumping on point. And Doctor Who was a damn sight scarier than they have ever dared make it since 2005. It really did terrify. And it was wonderful for it. And you couldn't get enough of it. You couldn't wait until the next week, no matter how much it scared you. You didn't need some stupid baby cartoon.
No.
To discover it. It was it's a ridiculous thing to say. And passive aggressive is exactly it. The way he's referring to everybody as pillocks and then just leaning forward and cackling hysterically. I did think at one point he was choking there, but he wasn't.
I met this man mid-90s, 96, 97. I can't remember. I didn't like him. There was a vibe. I'm going to say it. There was a vibe. I didn't like him. I thought he was a pretentious, up himself ponce, quite frankly. He comes from bloody Paisley. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got friends that come from Paisley. I know Paisley. Heaven's sake. So he had no, it was just, when he found out what we did, didn't want to know. Just looked down on it. Oh, please.
Well, he's one of the tavern set, isn't he? But when I listened
I
to
don't
this,
think he was, though, to be
well,
honest.
you know, I thought he was with
No, I'm not
all the
sure.
other.
I don't think so. I don't think he knew RTD that well when they all got together. I don't know. I'd have to
Right.
check. But I don't think he was. I think that came later. Yeah, Glenn Piper. The best thing about the BBC is the iPlayer, where you can watch every Doctor Who story. I agree with him there. PB is saying, I know who's going to be circling. It will be the Josh Snares of this
Yeah.
world. God help us. God help us.
Yeah.
That will be the kiss of death if lunatics like that get hold of the show. And this is why I think BBC Studios, who might bid for this, might not be the right people to do it, because they're aware, as I said last week, of all the culture that they approve of. Clive Simpson, this is more spin to stop the speculation getting out of hand, keep the fans placated, keep a certain set of fans who were always, as I've been saying since 2023, the ones that were going to be very, very upset about this thing coming off the air, because the writing was on the wall. We've been saying that since 23. We knew this thing was going to come off. They wouldn't be. They'd be the ones that could actually do something stupid to themselves, or maybe even to others. For a super chat, Funky is saying other channels. Yeah. Half the picture is one of them. Yeah, absolutely. Moffat is an elite idiot, says Raymond Williams. I can't cook, but if I'm served a bad meal at a restaurant, I'm going to complain to the chef. He's basically saying to fans, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's true. There's more of this to come. Dr. Wants, it's good to see you. How are you? Moffat and RTD were both friends with Paul Cannell, IIRC. Right. Well, there's something in this says where in this interview where he implies not that much. But anyway, let's get on with it. I'm going to show you some more of this, everybody. Let's get on to the next bit of this, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, absolutely confident. That's not insider knowledge. I just know how stuff works. And a show that's talked about as endlessly as that isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Promise you.
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, because when do you, as you say, so you think it needs a moment like you guys had bringing it back in 2005, like it was off the air for many years, and then it came back.
I don't mean 16 years.
Maybe,
No,
maybe not.
He didn't need 16 years. That was nuts.
Yeah.
That was nuts. It was just crazy. Doctor Who, it was so cheap back in the day. It made money. It was so cheap. They made it for nothing.
That's true.
There was no real reason for them not to make it. I think rights got tied up in all sorts of nutty ways. So no, it won't be off like that. It won't be like that.
But the idea of coming back with renewed energy and like, okay, where next?
Well, no, it's more just different people thinking about it in a different way. I mean, the thing about Doctor Who is that it's ancient. It's ancient. It's like the pyramids or something in terms of television. It's old text. It's ancient machine, but every single piece of it is new. It's an old thing made out of new things. It's always a new Doctor. It's always a new companion. It's always a new TARDIS set. It's always a new writer, a new producer, a new director. Every piece of it you're looking at is new. If you can be old and new at the same time, then you have all the advantage of myth and all the novelty of invention at once, right? Now, it's a thing I always say about casting the Doctor. He can be old, he can be young, but if he's old, he's got to be young on the inside, and if he's young, he's got to be old on the inside. You see what I mean? It's old and new, young and old, all the time.
Okay, so what do you make of that?
I disagree fundamentally with what he says about things are always changing, new Doctor, new companion. Well, yeah, that's always been the series, the way it's survived, reinventing itself. But when he says things like new TARDIS, I immediately think that's absolute bollocks. You know, the TARDIS wasn't changing every 2 minutes. That TARDIS lasted for decades, and they changed it because the damn thing was falling apart. You know, and so it wasn't a prerequisite to change the interior of the TARDIS all the time. People liked that familiarity, you know, and when they changed it, it wasn't always popular, you know. But the first thing, whenever I hear him speak, be it like this or in person when he spoke at the concert thing in Wales or whatever, he comes across as smug. Really smug, and he thinks he is the funniest person in the room, and he's really not. You know, he really isn't. But he has a very high opinion of himself, I believe. A legend in his own mind, I think.
do you not think this runs through them all, though, everybody? I mean, the fact that, I'm now fed up with this whole thing about hearing RTD was the one that brought the show back to huge success in 2005. Yes, I can't deny it was a massive success, and he was pivotal in it, absolutely. But he was also pivotal in its destruction in 2025, which people conveniently forget. Now, we also have to remember that Doctor Who, our beloved show, Doctor Who, made these people successful. Now, that's coming off the back of Verity Lambert, Barry Letts, Terence Dix, John Nathan Turner, Philip Hinchcliffe, Graham, Peter Bryant. The list goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, they were standing on the shoulders of giants.
They were.
They are not giants themselves. They think they are. They think they stand alongside people like that. Terence Dix, Robert Holmes. They think they're like that, and they absolutely aren't. No way. No way.
Yeah, and this is what gets to me more these days. It was getting to me actually when the show was in production, but now it's off production. It gets me even more. These people have dined out on, we were part of this whole thing that brought Doctor Who, but we were very successful. And they were commissioned for other series on the back of it. If you look at what happened after the success of Doctor Who, and I know they'd had shows beforehand, I'm not taking that away from them, but Moffat himself got Dracula and Sherlock.
Yeah, he did. He did. And what was the other one that he mentions in this that didn't do quite so well? Jekyll.
Yeah. I don't think Dracula did that well, did it?
I don't think it did, to be quite honest, no.
RTD got stuff. They got Children of Earth. They got Torchwood Miracle Day with stars from America.
Yeah.
When you look at the fact that Julie and Jane were able to create Bad Wolf, these people have done extremely well out of this beloved show of ours. Yeah. Extremely well.
They've had their noses in the trough
for a long time. And here we are now with the show out of production, and no one's being held to account because they're all playing showbiz niceties. Bring on the books within the next few years, everybody. Bring on the telltale stories. I can't wait. Doctor Who 1963 saying to us, it's a product of 1960s science fiction. Ambitious, mysterious, scary, ancient is a bad way to summarize it. It's like I was saying, though, Doctor Who 1963. Yes, I don't like the word ancient that he used, but I have been saying, haven't I, Ian, on the channel for a couple of years, this is an old show.
Yeah.
The reboot of Doctor Who itself was 21 years old. That's amazing in television times. I mean, Doctor Who, the original Doctor Who got to 26, as we all know. That was outstanding. This one got to 21-ish because it did have some time off.
It did.
So that in today's television is an amazing thing. Absolutely amazing. It didn't guarantee a long run, though, did it? Because it's going to have this nice break, which it needs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very good. And then it's going to go off again. But
I mean, there were certain parallels, weren't there? There were certain parallels because when Troughton finished and ratings were on the slide, everybody acknowledges that. Then they were going to ditch it, but they did not have anything to replace it. So they brought in Pertwee and gave it a year. And look what happened. We got the 1970s, and my God, weren't they great? But with Whittaker, it was dying a death, justifiably, because it was shit. And they gave it one more go with RTD coming back, and the difference couldn't have been more pronounced. That's showing you that Barry Letts, Terence Dix, Robert Holmes, Philip Hinchcliffe, they absolutely were not. Because they took something that was written off and made an absolute success of it. They came back and took over something and buried it.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Lots of you in the chat agreeing with that sort of stuff as well. We'll go to John the Computer Doctor here. Says Moffat and Co. are the Timu version of the greats.
Yes, a good way of putting it.
The only credit Moffat can take is the casting of Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. I'd agree with that one as well. Avon, Dracula, the BBC TV series was one of his. Yes, it was. I don't think anybody remembers it though. There was no impact.
No.
I mean, that was this shows you or shows me, and I'm going to put it to you. Doctor Who is what draws people in. And as he says in this interview, you've got to do Doctor Who properly. You know, you've got to do it properly because people have an expectation of what Doctor Who is. And he actually says at one point as well, doesn't he, Ian? He says something along the lines, it's about box drops from sky, man comes out of box, man sees things around him, man blows things up, man goes back in box, box goes back in sky. Something like that. That's Doctor Who in a nutshell. So Doctor Who made them successful because Doctor Who is successful. It's like they always say, Coronation Street, the street is the star. The square is the star of EastEnders. When it came to the Carry On films, it was the name Carry On that was the star, not the players in it. Doctor Who is the star of Doctor Who. And I don't mean the person playing the Doctor. I mean the show is the star. And anybody taking that on should understand that. I think the whole thing we've had from the modern reboot is it's always been about who's show running it. Okay, Moffat and Chibnall were not as bad as RTD, but they certainly, well, Chibnall I think hid from publicity, but certainly Moffat and RTD didn't, and they did their bit in pushing it and selling it. But we never saw that from producers of the original version, did we?
No. They had a kind of like a dignity and a grace with what they did. Even if things weren't working, they still had that professional front. And I just you never saw it with this lot. They were just a bit of a shower, really. I think you just can't take them seriously looking back.
Didn't Moffat say in this interview, asked Funky, that Blink totally destroyed his Jekyll series? He did, and he said it in a jovial way. He said it in a jovial way. Basically, he said that Julie Gardner said when he delivered Blink, this is probably your best one. He said, no, of course it's not. It hasn't got the Doctor in. And of course, Blink was a massive big hit, as we all know. He thought, oh, great, this is going to be great because it's going to give prestige to his series of Dracula that came up and up. Dracula came and went, and people were still talking about Blink. So he says it with humor.
Yeah, I think it was interesting that he said the angels were going to be in the Silence in the Library, and he took them out of that and put them in Blink.
Yeah,
which was interesting and fine, no problem. But Blink was good for that series. To be fair, it was an interesting new concept for once. It was something new. God forbid RTD tries and does that. So fair play to him for that. But the thing about Blink is that it worked well being a one-off, and then the angels just kept coming back, didn't they? And it lost it after that, I'm afraid.
I'm going to take this down now because I'm actually sick of hearing him. It gets a bit like RTD for me, actually, everybody. Do you know what I mean? But one thing I do want to talk about as well with the interview, and you can go and see it. It's half the picture if you haven't seen it already. But he does mention YouTubers, and he does complain about YouTubers, doesn't he? I can't remember his exact words, but he complains about the fact that, well, I took it to be an insult to all the YouTubers who criticise the show. What did you take it to be, Ian?
People ranting on YouTube have no idea what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is his quote.
Go on. That's great. That's great.
If you want to underline your rampant self-obsessed pomposity, then you do it in a sentence like that. What an arrogant cretin.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute prat. There's few things he said in there, because I literally wrote 3 or 4 lines, short lines, but that was one of them. I thought, you arrogant git.
It was that. Should I show it? No, I don't want to hear him. I'll get annoyed again. But it was that line that said, YouTubers don't know what they're talking about. You're talking there, Mr. Moffat, about fans that have been fans of the show, some of them longer than you, some of us the same amount of time as you.
Yeah.
So we do know what we're talking about because we are fans. And as Henry Cavill said, it's a fan's job to criticize it when it's not right. You were part of the reboot. Why didn't you say to RTD in 2023 3, why are you going down that route? Because it's not your sort of thing. You wouldn't have done that, you hypocrite. So why didn't you come out to say to him, this is going to alienate an awful lot of people? That shows that they're not 100%
he wanted to keep the gig. You know, he wanted to keep the opportunity of writing that ridiculous one where he stood on a landmine crying all the time, or he wanted to write that stupid Christmas special. He didn't want to lose those 2 gigs, so he's not going to criticize RTD. He's not going to stand up for anything that even comes close to having artistic integrity. Good God.
Is he saying there as well that we shouldn't rant when we want to criticize something? Are we saying that? Is he saying there? Because again, I find myself with Moffat. He is one of these few individuals that at times I think, oh, shut up, and I'll switch him off. And at other times I'll agree with him. Because he goes like this. Do you know what I mean?
He does.
With some people, you know exactly what you're going to get. And there's no contradiction. It's going to be bang. That's the view. Off we go. With Moffat, he seems to try and replicate everybody with his opinion. I don't know if that's what he's like in his personal life, because I'll never know him. But it's a case of like, one minute he will say something where I just think, oh no, what are you doing? And then he'll come out and say something. And I just think, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make sure that every part of the fandom is happy? You can't do that. But when he's coming out, as he's saying to us there, you shouldn't be saying on YouTube, you shouldn't be criticizing this thing. I don't get it.
It's the impression I got, because the way he described it, you know, he could say people talking on YouTube are misguided or anything like that, but no, he was quite clear. People ranting suggests you're a little bit unhinged and you're not thinking about what you're saying when you have a rant. We think about what we're saying, and we do know our subject. You know, we don't, you know, if somebody says something, or, you know, wonderful people that we've got in the chat, if they ask questions, or sometimes they ask us direct questions, don't they? We don't have to go running to books to look things up or check things out. You know, it's all, we do know what we're talking about. And I think when they come out with comments like that, they're probably just feeling a little bit threatened, which is their problem, not ours. But we most certainly aren't ranting. You want to look at a rant, you look at RTD when he's behind a lectern at one of those attitude
That's a rant. That's a rant to a rally, if you know what I'm getting at there, everybody. I've seen the history videos. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Funky, thank you for your super chat. Insulting YouTubers, both of you doing something good. When he said that, Funky, I have to say, I did feel that he was talking to all of us, because that's what we've been doing for 2 or 3 years since the awful Star Beast. We've been criticizing it and saying, what is this? Get it off the air. And again, thank you, BBC Studios, for listening to us and actually doing that, because you're giving the show an opportunity now to breathe again and find its feet again. And long may that reign. Give it 5 years before it comes back. Bring it back in year 6. I would. But yeah, thank you for that, Funky. We've also got Steve Braddock saying, so just because he's a writer, he knows better than us, his audiences, what arrogance. I've watched since 1968. Exactly. What else we got here in the chat? Oh, Lee Smith. He hates the fact that ranting Doctor Who YouTubers documented how shite Doctor Who was in real time. And it's all there now for the rest of time. It's all out there, isn't it? Because you're not going to be able to get rid of it. Those shows from everyone across the world are out there to say this was awful. And any new production team coming in can do the research, and they can learn by listening to the fans. Because as I keep saying, without the fan base, and I don't mean the small minority flag waving, pronoun using ninnies, I mean without the proper fan base, you have no future, because we are not there right now to support you coming back like we were in 2005 for RTD. Problem being, in aggregate, more people watched YouTubers talking about Doctor Who than watched it. That's probably very true, actually. Yeah. And Matt and Spiel saying, "Oh, the silly bugger! Just because he fed us some beeb slop and we said no thanks doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about." What a Burke! That's a good word. That I like the word Burke. Let's bring that back. Dalek Shalom, behave yourself. Philip Roy saying, a landmine that takes 6 hours to detonate after you step on it misses the point somewhat. There's a writer, another writer really speaking there.
It really does.
Yeah. Steve Braddock is saying, yeah, he used the Weeping Angels and he nicked the Vashra Dorada from an episode of Scooby-Doo. Oh, allegedly. We'll put in there.
Right.
Need to read these things before I put them. And Lee Smith saying, Doctor Who fans will still be here when the last 3 showrunners have scarpered, which they have done now. They have gone.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how much of their work remains relevant in any new version that comes along over the next few years, isn't it? Because, you know, if it was me, I'd just say none of that counts. I know that would upset some of you, but I would turn my back on it completely and go back to look at the original 4, as I've said before, to see what captured what they captured as Doctor Who, and try and recapture that magic and bring that in. Not saying I would write off 5, 6, 7, or 8. No, I probably wouldn't, but I just wouldn't make it obvious.
Everything that really defined Doctor Who was established with those first 4 Doctors. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. Just big a shout out to Legion of James, who's just joined us. I hope you're okay. I hope you're all right. That's all I'm going to say. But give some love to Legion of James, please, everybody. Hope you're all right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What else we got? Lots of you saying things here. Oh, thank you, Steve Braddock. I'd rather watch Who's Views than that current Doctor Pooh. Yeah. Had there been a Christmas special, that would have been fun for us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
God, oh, you wouldn't have liked that. Raymond Williams, Moffat will keep his true opinions to himself to protect his career. Anyone with a pair of eyes could see that Whittaker Gatwa was shite television. It certainly was. Certainly was. And it ended with that awful reality kitchen sink. Honest to God, it was blooming awful, wasn't it? I mean, what we went through, everybody. And here he is saying that YouTubers are ranting. Was there anything else that caught your eye on that interview with half the pictures?
Yeah, like I say, I wrote 4 lines, and it was literally 4 lines. I noticed the interviewer, he made a comment about Russell where he said Russell loves humanity. I'm thinking he really doesn't. He loves a certain subset of humanity, and he despises the rest, I think, judging by his rants. I really did laugh out loud when I heard that. But Moffat was also talking about people that say, look, I'm an ally. And he said, set your watch this space. Who really says that? And I'm like, well, David Tennant for one. You know, he even has it on his T-shirts, along with Protect the Dolls. You know, David.
That was one of the
David Tennant. You know,
sorry, Ian. That was one of the things I actually agreed with him on. So again, you know, I'm up and down, up and down, up and down, and I agree with them on that. When somebody comes out to say they're an ally now, I immediately go, well, we're not going to get on. What are you an ally of exactly? Oh, the TQ cult. Right, well, you've just alienated me, because these people who call themselves allies are very rarely educated when it comes to their subject. It's just the case, oh, look, there's a bandwagon. Oh, and that's going to make me look good. I'll jump on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what happens more and more and more. The amount of people on social media, complete strangers from around the world, that have called me incredibly aggressive names because I say, as I said before, a trans woman is a man and a trans man is a woman. As a same-sex attracted man, I know that is true. And then they get at me. They get at me for telling the truth. And they say they're an ally. I don't think so somehow, you idiots. Have a look at yourselves. But did you get the feeling, Ian, and those of you that have watched this, and I might be talking out of turn here, and if I am, I am. Did you get the feeling he might be trying to distance himself slightly from certain people?
A little bit. Yeah, actually, yeah, a little bit. I do, because he made one comment. They were talking about Heaven Sent quite a little bit, which you know, didn't particularly do anything for me, but you know, quite
me neither.
Yeah, some people saw it as a tour de force for Capaldi, and nothing against Capaldi, but about having an episode where it is just the Doctor, you know. Well, you know, look at Deadly Assassin, for example. That just had the Doctor, didn't it? Obviously there were other characters, but he said that most of the actors that played the Doctor could pull off Heaven Sent. Most of the actors that have played the Doctor could pull off Heaven Sent, and I'm pretty certain I know the ones that he thinks couldn't, and one of them would be Whittaker and the other one would be Gatwa. And if you're going to come out and imply things like that, and that's what I think he was implying, then because Matt Smith could pull that off, absolutely.
I think he could, yeah.
And probably earlier Tennant, maybe, because he did his talking to himself bit, you know, when he was going down the pit in the Satan pit on the thing.
He'd put too much of that panting nonsense into it, though.
Yeah, and the yeah. But I think he's referring to Whittaker and Gatwa, and that's distancing yourself. That's trying to almost subconsciously pour scorn on the last few years of Doctor Who, just like we have been publicly. But yeah, I think he is definitely.
I just got that feeling, Who viewers, and I'm glad Ian did as well. If you did as well when you saw this, let us know in the comments or in the chat now. And it's not the first time I've had this feeling. Last time he said something, I thought, ooh. And it's just the way I interpret it. Kev GHM, good to see you, mate. On YouTube, there are some great uploads of the old Coronation Street episodes from the 70s. I found myself watching and asking the question, why is there no one who can write proper entertainment anymore? Now, this is the other thing that's interesting, Kev, because when you listen to Moffat, when you watch Moffat, when you read about Moffat, this is one of the things where he catches me, because I agree with him when he says, we are not there to preach. We are there to entertain. So he still has this element. It's in this interview as well, where he genuinely believes that he is there to write scripts that will not alienate people. He are there to entertain people, which went against everything he's protecting in Doctor Who RTD2. Because that was just sheer far left propaganda all the way through.
100%.
It wasn't in as much as his Boom, I seem to recall, but weren't we down on Boom a bit? Didn't we? It was a middling episode in one of his series, wasn't it, Boom?
And it was very, and it was your typical weepiness and everything, and it was generally crap, really. But I think it was interesting, that last comment about why is there nobody that can write decent TV anymore. I think there is, they just don't get a look in. You know, your Rob Shearmans, you know, and everybody else who are just pushed out because others take over the playground and don't let anybody else play. And it's been the same. You said, JT, loads of times going back the entirety of the time that I've certainly had the privilege of being on this channel, and that is, you said you know lots of good people in the acting field that just can't get a role.
Can't get work.
They're just squeezed out by other less talented but more favoured individuals, and I think writing's the same.
My friend, I've got several friends called Paul, and one of my friends, Paul, is a beautiful actor. He is fabulous. I have seen him in the stage shows he has done, and he is amazing. Never got the big break because he doesn't fit the bill for several big elements, as it were, and he's just an incredible actor. It makes me so annoyed, and he's just one example I could give you. It's shocking. He's not in the clubs, as it were, possibly because he's white and heterosexual. I don't know. Selgress here saying, my gay uncle had the same problem. He was called a homophobe when he mentioned he doesn't like the new Doctor Who. It's insane. Selgress, make sure you introduce him to Who's Views, tell him he's perfectly welcome to come onto our channel and sit with us and be part of our community. You might even like some of the nonsense I'm saying. So get him to subscribe to our channel, because that would be fabulous. Hidden History and the Holy reminds us that episode was about the Doctor spending 4.5 billion years sulking inside the fob watch. I must be one of the few people in the world who found it incredibly boring and fell asleep. So I don't think I've actually seen it all the way through. Sorry. Tim Kins, not stopping something who's in charge is not equally a responsibility as writing it. You're either in charge or you're not. Moffat wasn't. Fair enough. Fair enough, yeah. Lex, what are you saying to us? If we ever get proper Doctor Who back, what about the scripts that never got filmed for the original season 23 of Doctor Who? Thank you for your super chat there, Lex. I would say no, personally. I don't know what Ian thinks, but personally I would say no. It'd be too much hassle now because unfortunately we've lost a lot of the alleged writers for that series. Also, nothing was put down in paper. Yes, things were starting to be developed, but these certain things that came up saying, oh, we've got the scripts for the unmade 23, or we've got the scripts for the unmade 27. Really? How? Because, you know, the Nightmare Fair, yes, I think some of that was put down on paper, but nothing else was actually really put down apart from ideas and stuff like that.
I don't think there was anything from Mission to Magnus and the Ice Warriors and anything else.
Because the authors had to go back and look at notes, not scripts, for the books. And then years later, the audios came along. And when they say things like, oh, the missing 27, that's all based on what were the authors thinking as well at the time. It's not actually based on the script. But I would say, no, leave them forgotten, leave them gone, and come up with something fresh. You've got to do something that is going to. It's so up in the air right now, Lex. It's so important. It's such a big, as I said before, it's a massive job because you have to find an audience now because you haven't got a guaranteed one.
Absolutely right.
That's one thing I agree with him again on Moffat in this interview, Ian, because he said there, didn't he? It's going to be how they want to do it. What sort of show are they going to do? How are they going to do this and that? That's exactly it. And that's not easy because this is Doctor Who. And it does come with Doctor Who. A man in his TARDIS, which looks like a police box traveling through time and space fighting monsters. That's Doctor Who. But now you're going to have to find the quality, the tone of the stories, how you're going to present the stories, the format of the stories, the direction of the stories, the look of the show, the color of the show, the lead actors for the show, the everything about the show, because you don't have an inbuilt audience anymore. And they've got to understand that. I don't know what you think about that.
You've got to recreate what is, and it's going back like to Doctors 1 to 4. You have to recreate what the essence is of Doctor Who in an audience that would work today, but would appeal to a wide demographic, a proper demographic, not a niche demographic. If you put it for a niche audience, then it will fail. So, you know, you've got to. It's easy for us to say you've got to get it right, but they have to get it right. But they have to take so much into consideration. But at the same time, I think they have to decide what they're going to cut away and let go, because there is an awful lot of dead wood. There's an awful lot of luggage, and they need to get rid of all of it, pare it back to its bare bones. This lead character, all right, we know he's a Time Lord. He's called the Doctor. But after that, don't explore it. Just let him be, you know, and then the companions come in with it. Have the TARDIS, you know, ditch the Time Lords maybe, because that ultimately will be explaining too much more of the Doctor, and it's better that he remains a mysterious figure.
Yeah, I quite like. I wouldn't do it immediately. If you're looking at say 5 years, I would probably be bringing them in series 4 and do one adventure with the Doctor on Gallifrey, for example. Because the Time Lord's a part of who he is. The British public still know he's a Time Lord, but I wouldn't over milk it, and I wouldn't do it original. I would set him up with the mystery of the Doctor again, but I wouldn't bring the Time Lords in for it. But I'd like to think that they were there somewhere to be able to say to him, "We've got a mission for you, Mister, and you're not going to like it."
Yeah, because I mean, it went for 6 years without anything, didn't it? And then the Time Lords came in, and then through Pertwee and Tom Baker, it was very much the occasional job, wasn't it? Or appearing to say that the Master's there and he's going to kill you, or he'll try to kill you and stuff like that.
As Julianne is saying here, echoing what we've been saying on the show for some time now, this show, this time, has loads of baggage now, thanks to Moffat and his pals.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Moondust, hello to you. They have loads of history of data. They know what works, but ignore it. And Stephen O'Neill, we've had 2 lots, of dead wood when we had Whittaker and Gatwa as the Doctor. And this is it. They can't have any more of that. This time round, I think this is the last. I mean, Moffat says in that interview, and he's right, Doctor Who is as up there with Robin Hood and Sherlock Holmes, all the usual stuff we know, you know, James Bond. They're the British icons. We know that. It doesn't mean that they're going to be in 50 years' time. If somebody comes along like RTD, if RTD had done that 3rd series, the show would have been dead forever.
Game over.
But I think the BBC Studios realised that when Series 2 was being screened. Possibly even when Series 1 was being screened, because the backlash was phenomenal. Not just from YouTubers, Moffat, not just from YouTubers like us, but from the alternative media and the accepted media, except the BBC and ITN who weren't interested. Everything else, everybody else was saying, look at this. We went through a lot of the stuff at the time, didn't we? The furore in the press of what a crap script. What is this? What has RTD done? Now that's all been conveniently forgotten now, thanks to Tippy Toey, except by
absolute
us. We
mockery.
will not forget it, Ian.
No, we won't. And it was wide-scale mockery, justifiably so, unless you're talking about idiots, captured idiots like Asia in the Metro, you know, who, if RTD stopped suddenly, her head would have gone right up. So, you know, we knew what side of the fence she was. But the majority...
she was their target audience, though. Representation.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? And and that's what made it go wrong. But even she's now changed the tune, as we showed a few weeks ago here on the channel. She thinks, no, it needs a break.
Yeah.
You know. Thanks for all your chats tonight, everybody. Good to see you. Nate Channel, hello, how are you? Love your bookshelves, JT. They're actually my DVD shelves. The bookshelves are over there and over there. And over there. So yeah, there's quite a few things down and around and about, but thank you for that, Nate Channel. Thank you so much. Oh, Avon, would Chris Eccleston ever come back? Why do you want him? Let him go. Let him go. No, new. It needs new. That's the problem. Let's not recognize what's just been. Let's not recognize. Let's not let the not-we's forget. Remember the failed era. New. That's what I say. You know. Anyway, you can go and see that interview with Stephen Moffat on Half the Picture. I did have a couple more things to go through with it, but I just can't do that. Like RTD, I've listened to too much of his voice.
Yeah, you get irritating, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does. Yeah, I just think no. Listen, everybody. Oh, Moondust is saying, JT, are you still watching Life on Mars? No, I've because other things have happened. With Doctor Who and stuff, I've lost focus on it, so I'll have to go back and pick it up at some point. And also, Amazon. I lost it on Amazon for a little while as well, or wherever I was watching it. But I'll get back to it at some point. I was enjoying it, I have to say. Listen, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Ian for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Give us a like, give us a hype if you want to as well. And thank you so much for being so active in the chat tonight. I look forward to reading all your comments, especially if you voted for something else other for how the BBC should move forward now. Looking forward to seeing what you all reckon of that. Pop those into the comments. Great show, Ian. Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you, JT. I mean, I'm very sorry that our colleague Paul just lacked the commitment to turn up tonight, something to do with work. But you know, it was good, wasn't it? I've enjoyed it though. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good. I like this from Lee Smith. Keep ranting. We will. Don't you worry about that, Lee. We are going to rant away as we continue into this hiatus. Everything's still to come. We're still waiting for all that news from BBC Studios, of course, on what the tender process will involve. As soon as that's announced, we will be here to discuss it. I'm hoping that they don't rush with it. I hope they take their time. I would like to have 5 or 6 years of this show off the air. That's going to be horrifying to certain other people, isn't it? But I think it bloody well needs it. I can tell you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I will see hopefully some of you tomorrow at 8 o'clock live here on the channel for Blake 7 and our review of Trial from Series 2. We're back with Who's Views reviews for Doctor Who this Wednesday at 8 o'clock as part of our Cybermen at 60 series, where we'll be looking at the one that you lot have been requesting for quite a while. It's Earthshock. From Ian and myself, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. For now, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your support. We'll be here again shortly. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra.
Bye.